Hello, is this thing on? Lucas, can you hear me?
I hear you.
All right. I'm glad you hear me. I hope others out there hear both of us. If not, we're going to have a good discussion today, so it will be worthwhile just for that, right? And we don't know how it's going to go, right? I'm an optimist, and I think it's going to go well because this isn't our first time talking to each other, right? This is the product of us having a lot of backroom, so to speak, discussions.
Yeah, the last time, what was it, 2022, I believe. We did a Zoom call in private just to, you wanted to feel things out because at that time I was in this same position, not exactly the same, but I was kind of seeing, okay, anti-Semitism is eating me alive. I want to start a new life. I literally changed my name from Angelo John Gage to Lucas Gage. And I'm
Yes.
like, I'm gonna just go write books and be normal again. That's what I thought because the movement I was in, I already saw back then it was falling apart. It's not going anywhere. By the way, after COVID, everything was getting nuked, so it's like, what are we even doing on here? And then we became sort of like cool for a little bit. And I started saying Zionists and globalists. I stopped saying Jew. I said, you're not a monolith. Because you were telling me, Lucas, we're not a monolith. We're all different. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And then the Ukraine-Russia war, and I'm like, well, who's behind that? Zelensky, Newland, and all I'm seeing is Jude, right? I'm like, then I think what happened was I posted a meme of Hitler about Israel, about Palestine, and that offended you. And I'm like,
Oh,
well,
go
dang,
figure, Lucas. Why? I'm so sensitive, huh?
yeah. And I'm like, well, why would you post that? I'm like, why not? It's free speech. Are you trying to control my speech? And that's how it kind of like
Yeah.
went back. Oh, he's a supremacist. They never change. And you're thinking, well, he's not changing. And so and then after October 7th, it was game over. Like it was just goodbye, everything. So yeah, it spiraled out a little bit, but no, this was attempted a while back, and I truly did. I mean, who changes their name at age? What was it, 37, or a couple years? I changed it in 2022, so 4 years ago. Who does that? And it's like it was a midlife crisis because I was so into this stuff, and I already
Yeah.
saw later. I'm like, hmm. But then I guess this was the third strike, right? Three times you're out, or
Well,
third luck's
listen,
the
in
charm.
Israel, we don't say three strikes you're out. We say third time glider, meaning ice cream, meaning you got to
Mm,
buy some ice cream. So
right,
you owe me an ice cream. But
right,
let
okay,
me just take a step back.
sure.
You're all over the shop, which is fine because I've got ADD. Do you have ADD, by the way?
No, I don't think so.
Everyone
PTSD and
does, by the way. That's
yeah.
the thing. Everyone has ADD or is on the spectrum these days. But I think I definitely have ADD. But I want to take a step back because our history started. I just want for the people that don't understand our history, some people are probably viewing that from my side of the fence. The Jews of the world, followers of mine. You might have ex followers of yours that want to try to see what you're up to for the 7,000 shekels or dollars you're apparently being paid. We'll get
Yeah.
into that in a minute. We're both still waiting for our checks, clearly. And then there's the people, just people that think this is going to be an interesting discussion. So, um, amongst the middle group, especially, people will not have a clue what our backgrounds are, how we know each other, the beef. We have huge beef, right? We've had huge beef.
So here
I joke with you that if I'm Superman, then you're Lex Luthor, right? I mean, you're a bald guy,
okay,
first of all.
listen, I'm Lex yes, yes. All
I'm
right.
not saying I'm Superman in terms of strength. You could probably outbench me. I'm no doubt about that. But maybe my leg press could be a bit better than yours, unless the Jewish doctor of yours has completely performed miracles on your legs. But I joke about it because you came to my attention, I think, during the COVID years, right? 2020. I forget exactly how you came to my attention, but one of the things that I've been doing online, and I was probably the pioneer. Now I'm going to put a target on my back for this, but I'm probably the first one amongst the Jews or the Jewish organizations to, let's say, proactively go after anti-Semites. You've got Stop Antisemitism now, Canary Mission. We can all opine about whether we agree or not agree. For the record, by the way, I don't agree with either of, I don't do things exactly like them. Um, and that might be a bit controversial to some people watching this. You might be surprised. For instance, I think sometimes they stop anti-Semitism will call someone anti-Semitic, and Greta Thunberg, you're going to
Mhm.
compare Greta Thunberg to Dan Bilzerian? I feel that there's different type. Let's put it this way: not different types of anti-Semites, but different types of people spreading anti-Semitic words or thought or tropes. There are those that know what the hell they're doing, which you firmly, I think, back in the day, seemed to know what you were doing. Then there are those that probably aren't aware, but you don't always know they're not aware. You know, people that talk about the Rothschilds, they might not know it's like a anti-Semitic dog whistle. They've gone down some sort of rabbit hole, and the Rothschilds are a bad family, right? They've done some bad shit, but it triggers a lot of Jewish people. See, this is one point or something I want my fellow Jews to understand, you know, watching this discussion, is that, you know, there are anti-Semites, but there are real anti-Semites, and there are people that maybe they're not anti-Semitic necessarily, and the approach towards them should be different. Now, I'm
I was a real
contradicting.
one.
I'm contradicting myself a bit, because you were a real one, man. You like, as I said, you were the Lex Luthor to my Superman. But there's always been something about you, I feel, and why I say you're the Lex Luthor is you were kind of polar opposite, meaning there was something about you very relatable in my mind, right? There's a lot of what we call, as you know, and you've used this term a lot, low IQ anti-Semitism, right? And I'm going to mention names. I know you don't like bad-mouthing others these days, but Jake Shields, you know, he looks like a Neanderthal. He's a Neanderthal. You got Dan Bilzerian. Like, these are not highbrow intellectuals, okay? They appeal to the lowest common denominator. Now, you definitely appeal to the lowest common denominator, right?
I did, yeah.
What would you say the percentage? So even though you had this intellectual argumentation, I've quipped to you offline that you have a very Talmudic kind of brain. I think you kind of like me saying that. If I told you that back in the day, you probably would have really tried to slay this demon over here. But what would you say that the percentage of low IQ anti-Semites was amongst your followers?
Well, yeah. So really, my strength was my oratory, getting people emotionally riled up.
Mm,
And that you need to use emotional rhetoric. So demons and monsters and child killers and so on and so forth. And just appealing to their emotions where you're not really talking about like financial crises and all these other, which I did. See, I did both, but my audience was mostly people who were just wanted to see someone scream the way they felt about what they're
yeah,
seeing in Palestine and Gaza.
yeah,
That's what really blew me up. It was the October 7th, and all of a sudden I'm over there and I went viral. Aaron Bushnell video went viral. I
yeah.
went on Turkish media. Dave, I was everywhere you can imagine in the Middle East. That's the crazy part.
Mm,
And the people wanted to see an American white guy, right? Think about it. American former Marine white dude, not Palestinian, not Middle Eastern, speaking for the people, right? And
yeah,
everyone loved it and everyone felt that way. And I was doing that. Whereas other people were in more intellectual approaches, like a Nick Fuentes type. He's sitting there and he's excellent at what he does, really good oratory. And he's talking about the news and he's breaking things down about organizations and certain
yeah,
people. That's the one type that's like the higher IQ one, you would say. Now, I
yeah,
did some of that, but that wasn't my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse was like a drill instructor. I called it a drill instructor shtick. So
yeah,
I would red pill as many people as possible because the people were emotional, the masses are emotional, and then someone like him and others like him, or the intellectual, they would red pill the people who emerged from them who weren't just low IQ or whatever the case. So it was kind of like it wasn't planned. It just that's how it was.
yeah,
So that's the difference between a low IQ anti-Semite is just F the Jews, good morning everyone but Israel. This like vomiting every day where there's no solutions, where you have other people like, okay, look, here's what we got to do: get into Congress, do XYZ. And Jewish people are very powerful, and they have Larry Ellison bought TikTok and all these different details. That's different than just it's the Jews every single time,
yeah,
which is the low IQ. It's everything is Jewish no matter what. They control the weather. If they make a vaccine, it's to kill you. They've done nothing good. Einstein is a fraud. He didn't come up with relativity. Like nothing you did was good ever, period. Regardless of even if they have friends that are Jews who are nice. That's super low IQ anti-Semitism. And it becomes essentialist. That's what I became. Like literally like a National Socialist who would say the Jews are a disease that need to be removed from society. Now, I never said that, but that's how they thought of you. There is no
yeah,
escape from you. People I knew in the movement, not everyone was like that. They were like, no, I have a Jewish friend. As long as they convert to Christianity, it's okay. Or
yeah,
my cameraman is Jewish. My producer is Jewish. My friend is Jewish. Me, I became so anti-Semitic, no Jews other than my doctor. He didn't even know who I was. And she's nice, Ukrainian and Israeli. So she's always been
Ah,
nice to me.
well, there
So
you
anyway,
go.
and I would go to Costco and I see all these Jewish people. Never took the fight in public, Dave. Never was like one of these handsome truth people in the public harassing people at synagogues, K word, all these things. Like never. You would never know it's me if I went out in public,
Well,
right?
that's really interesting because the
Yeah.
reason, and this is one of the beefs that we had, and was that back in the day, I think it was back in, well, as I said, it was during COVID, like, you first came to my attention. Not long after, you were really ranting and raving, mostly in your car with your baby, your infant child seat back in the
Mhm.
back, for real emotional effect. Let's put it that way. It was like even more troubling, right? Because you have a little kid. I'm like, this guy's talking about. I think you were talking about a different way or the third way. You were talking these
Third position.
euphemisms.
Yeah. Third
Yeah,
position. Yeah.
and you would say the link. You weren't doing it like online in terms of X or the main platforms. You had like some sort of Gabby. It was maybe before Gab, but there was some other thing, and it was sort of you know lower level, kind of more in secret. And I'm like watching this from Israel, and I'm like and honestly and sincerely really worried about you. You seem to be unhinged. Now, if you're by the way, here's another thing that might surprise you. I'm for freedom of speech. I'm not the guy that says block, not block, suspend the account, even though you thought that I was behind your suspensions. I don't like suspending other people's accounts, only for the reason, first of all, I'm for freedom of speech, but also because I get a lot of good material from, the ranting and raving, right?
Well, you also want to know who these people are, right?
Yeah,
If you, wouldn't it be better to know where these people are rather
yeah.
than we don't know where they are anymore because they're all hiding? That
Yeah,
would
so
be a good argument.
I'm for freedom of speech, but I'm also freedom for consequences of that speech. Meaning, I have the freedom, if I think you're inciting violence, to encourage my followers to report you, not for
Sure,
anything just because I don't like what you're saying. It has to really be a fear of violence, incitement to violence, and that was where I was at back then. And that's
sure.
something that you really did not like, obviously. And then you had the doxing episodes that came up later. And then I forget what it was, but I don't know why, but you came up with a tweet. Now, I think it was during the Jewish Sabbath, if I'm not mistaken, where I'm offline. Friday sundown to Saturday night, I'm not online at all. And I get back online, I think, after the Shabbat, the Sabbath, and I see all these like terrible, more death threats and horrible comments than usual. And maybe I'm mistaken about it being over Shabbat, but this is my memory right now, but it doesn't matter when it was. The point being, you kind of sicked your minions at the time on me, because I think you called me a rat face. And then you got doxxed right afterwards. And, I guess guilt, collaborative, what am I looking for? The term?
Guilty by
Corroborative
association.
evidence. Yeah, like, well, I called him a rat face and now I'm being doxxed. And this is the guy that once encouraged these people to report me to the FBI, you know,
I
connecting
remember
some sort of
exactly what happened.
dots.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so I was trying to figure out who was awesome Jew or Jews are the goat.
Was there the
So I
one
had
that
all these.
said something? Is that what it was?
Well, apparently you always said goat in your. So some anon was like super good with computers. He was trying to figure out is David Lange Jews are the goat. And so somehow he's like 85%. I don't know how it happened. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to expose you. Jews are the goat. And I know it's you, Dave, something like that. And then literally the night of that, I got swatted. I'm like, well, it has to. Now, I didn't know you were doing Shabbat. Now that I know you're a religious Jew, you were not on the computer. So that makes sense. But
By the way, I think Awesome Jew is a religious Jew as well, but because he's in
yeah,
the States, his Shabbat will start later than mine, just so you know.
right, right. So either way, we find out later it's Israelis who are texting me literally with numbers and then satanic people and all these
Yeah.
weird freaks. It wasn't just Jews or Israelis. It was other groups over
I wrote
time.
about
But
that, by the way. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I thought you were awesome Jew for some because people are telling me, look at this. He said this, that, this password change, all these weird things. And so I said, it's got to be him. And everyone thought it was you. So it's like, it's got to be him. And turns out it's not. But yeah, I was like, but I was like, this is what he did to me. And I clipped your picture of your article, February, FBI, please. I'm like, it's got to be him, So anyway, yeah. So that's what happened there. So we kind of did the same, not as much as I did, but the thing is, We didn't know what was going on. All I know is that my family's getting swatted, and I've never been swatted in my life. And the first 3 times with guns, and my wife is in the couch, my son's downstairs, and my sister-in-law is upstairs with a baby.
Yeah.
Now, I thank God I, was not crazy. I think the swatting was about trying to get me killed if I freaked out, didn't comply. That's
You
that's
think
what
wait
swatting
a
is
second,
about.
let me call you out on that. You think that if there were Jews behind that, that they were like, you think they wanted to get you killed?
Yeah, that's probably it, or scare
Wow.
me.
No, maybe, or maybe just fuck with you.
Well, yeah, but swatting
Which
could
is it?
end up in your
Which is, by
death.
the way, all of this is wrong. And I
Yes,
was
yes,
very
yes.
clear that I did
Well,
not condone, and I actually kind of was
you did.
revolted
I
by that.
think you condemned it. You
I
said you were
did
not
actually
behind it, but
condemn
see,
it.
my
Yeah.
mentality is you're Jewish, so you're always lying. You see what I mean? That's the mentality.
Then you can't. So then you can't win, right? So being a
You can't
Jew,
win. That's the point. So
and
when you
even
get
if
to
a
that
Jew
level
is
of
doing the right thing, it's a subversive position to trick the Gentile, the goy,
yes, once
right?
you get to that level of anti-Semitism, there's nothing a Jew can do correctly. Even if you're, I'll give you an example. It's kind of funny. So
Yeah,
Dr. Jeremy Kaufman, he passed away through 2, 3 years ago. He did gastronomic surgery on me. So I
yeah,
walk into his office and it says Sackler University, Tel Aviv. That's where he trained. Well, that's nice. But the Sacklers also poisoned everybody with the opium. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, there's the Jews. They love us. They make money for, and then they kill the Gentiles. So there's that. And the Sacklers aren't a good family, obviously. They're pharmaceutical people,
yeah,
but they did build up. So a lot of these crazy people in the world, they do philanthropy. You know what I mean? That's how they also launder their money and stuff like this. But it was just funny. But he was a great doctor, and he passed away. Unfortunately, he was driving and he just died while he was driving.
oh
Crashed
God,
the car. Yeah, horrible. But nice doctor. He's my doctor. He's Jewish. He didn't know who I was. I didn't. Oh, you're a Jew. I want a new doctor. That's where it's like almost inconsistent, right? In my life, in my personal life, there were no Jews fighting with me. It's online. And so I always left it online, Dave. I never took it out in public. Jews rape kids or any stupid nonsense like that. Never harass a rabbi. Never went to a synagogue and caused a problem. That's when you go nuts. I never gone to that level. But me on the internet saying what I said, it is freaky and scary. And I know it's the case. It's not just people say, oh, they're just saying that oy vey. No, I met people. When I went to Lakewood, I went to this kosher restaurant, very good food, by the way. A lot of them said, my God, Lucas, you know what? I was so scared. I thought you'd hurt somebody. Well, why not? I mean, look, a former Marine, what did I say? I'm going to go all in. I'm going to die for my people. I'll never stop till you kill me. I mean, what's next? You know?
yeah,
Now, I don't have a gun. I never, because the PTSD laws here, they got to get a signature from a doctor, which you think is easy. No doctor wants to sign anything, right? Because if you go nuts. So I don't have a weapon, thank God, right? And not, nor like I wouldn't use it anyway. But you don't know that. You just see a guy literally screaming, his veins are popping out. And I said off camera, Dave, when I used to go look at my old videos, because they're still around, I go, who is this person? So it's like people know I have PTSD from the war. I actually went to Iraq twice. I've seen people explode, all this stuff. And then seeing what's happening in Gaza, which I know you don't like either, right? Even as an Israeli, people think you're all crazy. You love when kids die. No. But seeing that and then getting all these things combined, I just went over the top, lost it, and I admit that. And also, I blew up very quickly. So I've never been a big internet personality. Okay. I had
yeah.
24,000 people when I got back when Elon bought Twitter. I grew almost 200,000 over like a year, not even ridiculous growth. And I didn't know how to handle it. And I'm super transparent, despite me being a Nazi in your eyes. I was always upfront. People always believed what I said, even though I was, in your view, like crazy. You knew, like, to believe me, right? So I didn't even know how to handle that infamy. Had no idea. When Dan Bilzerian starts following, Andrew Tate starts following, all these different big names like follow. I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? And going viral constantly over and over again. So it was a new world to me. So I blew up very quickly and I crashed just as fast, right? Now, all the things that I said, I knew in my heart I would never hurt anybody, but
Yeah,
you don't know that. You see that? And so
exactly.
I understand how all the Jewish people that were freaking out, the ones who sent me stuff and all that. And by the way, as I said off camera, it wasn't just Jews. We did investigations. Now we didn't catch the swatters because they used every kind of technology to, you know. I did get text from Israel 93, whatever long number, we're going to rape your kid. They're going to say stuff like that. But I also got satanic groups. This one called 764. Their
What does
modus operandi,
764 stand for?
it's just where their area code is. And so these people are Satanists that hurt children. So when
Oh,
this woman,
God.
Colleen, came, she was part of the New Jersey Homeland Office of Security and Preparedness. She's like, well, that's not typically their MO. They usually just get kids that hurt themselves. But I started becoming a loud cow. That means people are doing things to my home and waiting for the reaction, whether it's a pizza, whether it's Chinese food, anything from, DoorDash, from Amazon, right? I got all sorts of stuff. Me reacting to it, recording it, they go, see, that was me. And I have
Yeah.
tweets of people going, I did that. And they weren't Jews. There was like a Nazi, whatever. So it was a very strange thing. So in the beginning, it was swatting certainly from Israel and other places. And then it became, this guy is a joke. Let's really trigger him. And so once I realized what these people do on the internet, I stopped reacting. There was a time I got 10 pizza deliveries at the same time. Okay. Like
Wow.
10 cars. And I said nothing. I said, all right, well, I can't respond. Because before I was documenting it for everybody. Look what's happening to me. Everyone look, right? Oh my God, they're swatting him, right? I wanted to record it. I wanted to make sure people know what was going on. But after a while, I realized, oh, if I keep doing this, they're going to keep doing it to me. Then I stopped. And that's
Yeah.
another thing about the internet culture. I didn't know what a loud cow was. And that's exactly what it was. So I put a target every time I said something publicly
This is
about
the
anything.
first I've ever heard this, by the way.
Right. It's
Speaking
a whole nother internet culture, Dave.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Speaking of loud cows, right now we're mute cows. So I'm watching. I noticed that even though we tested everything, and I even tested the live stream before, all the platforms have dropped off. This is not going live, just so you
Oh,
know.
wow.
But don't worry, because at the end of this, and I checked beforehand, it will record, and then I'll post it everywhere. It's a bit
Okay.
disappointing, but the truth is, we're not going to be responding to comments anyway.
Okay.
And I'll post it everywhere, but I just want to let you know it's disappointing. I see everything's dropped off. It says X Live, YouTube Live, Facebook having trouble, but then I see at the top X, the stream has ended, YouTube, the stream has ended before
Well,
it
let
even
me,
began.
I'm going to check you right now. Let me see if
No, I
Dave's.
did check while you've been talking. I've been checking because I'm ADD. Remember, I can
Oh,
multitask.
okay.
But don't worry, because this will be recorded and it will not be in vain.
Okay.
So
Well, hey, listen, it's okay.
yeah, it's it's Murphy's law, right? You can do all the checks you want, but something will mess up at some point. But no, it's very interesting hearing your perspective because I've obviously got my perspective of this this period of time, but it's interesting that you now retroactively see that our fear was real.
Yes.
And one of the things when we had a discussion on Zoom, and I mentioned this to you before, like, so, you had your first epiphany when you changed from Angelo John Gage to Lucas Gage. It was a symbolic, and you still kept it, by the way, even though you
Yeah.
went back to the anti-Semitism, which was interesting. But in our discussion, I said to you, listen, the reason I fight anti-Semitism is because my dad, his whole family were killed in the Holocaust. His parents brought him out to Australia, if you remember. And my dad never recovered from the Holocaust. He was not a Holocaust survivor. I call him a Holocaust evader, as a kind of a black humor thing. But he actually was only 8 years old. But it really messed up his life. And he, if I can say this, it's a bit personal, but my dad, he would drink, and all his life. His alcoholism wasn't something that was violent or anything like that, but we knew he was drinking. He had a hard time, right? All his life. He died at the age of 78 in 2008. So it stuck with me. So it was like, obviously being a Jew, we have this PTSD, as I mentioned before, even in Israel, amongst the Alpha Jews, not the Woody Allen Jews, as I call them in the
Mhm.
diaspora, which I'm now going to get my fellow Jews in the diaspora are going to call me an anti-Semite now for that. But I think you understand what I'm saying. And I'm generalizing, but we know we're not a monolith. It's just sort of, when you live in Israel, you realize that all the stereotypes about Jews, not being sporty and not being tough and strong and not able to defend themselves, it's the complete opposite. And you haven't been to Israel, and I would like you to come one day, not to kiss the wall, don't worry, but just to come as a person.
I've been offered 3 times already. I'm like, "Listen, I hate traveling." What do you want
I'm
me
not
to do?
offering you anything, dude. I'm
Well, I know, I
saying
know, I
you
know.
pay your own way. Have a nice holiday with you. Oh, the only thing I'll offer is to show you around, invite you for a barbecue, and I know you don't drink, so I'll hold off on the beers. But because I think that coming to Israel, the best way to rebut a lot of the bullshit which is going on about Israel and all the accusations is just to come here. We argue online all the time, but like most people that come here that don't have an ulterior motive, they just look around and they're like, oh my God. Which is a good segue for me now. I would like to understand more. We understand that now you're not the anti-Semites, right? So, well, actually, let's take a step back. I don't want to jump to Israel quite yet. Where do you stand right now? Like, meaning your view on Jews is like just like any other people, meaning
Yeah.
we have the rotten eggs, just like everyone else, or do you think we have more rotten eggs, or like where do you stand right now? Because I don't know
Well,
if
I
I
think
even.
there's a combination of things, for example, so because of your persecution throughout history, because of your culture, because I've been watching rabbis, I've been watching Torahs, like, when I
The
watch
wrong
these Torah.
rabbis, though, Lucas.
Yeah, well, they're politically incorrect, that's why I like them.
No,
But
but what about Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, who I've been sending for years his stuff to
you
you?
sent me, one clip I watched, he's nice, but I like
Don't
the
you want
tough love.
nice? Be nice. Have the nice.
I love the tough love Jews,
Yeah,
but
but the tough love Jews are saying stuff which anti-Semites. You liked him when you were an
well,
anti-Semite.
no, because they're also honest about what's in there, but let me just say this, so,
Yeah.
I'm watching these lectures, and they're just talking about normal life coaching stuff, and I
Okay,
said,
you have a life coach side to you, right?
right. So like when I got out of the Marine Corps and I didn't know I had PTSD, I tried to figure out what was wrong with me. I looked up Tony Robbins. I did a whole course on neurolinguistic programming and
Yeah.
hypnosis for myself. And
Yeah.
I started a business called Internal Transformations for like a year in Newark. So I always wanted to self-improve because I didn't know. Anyway, so I'm watching these rabbis and they're talking about daily life. You know, when you go to church as a Christian, you go on Sunday, you read the Gospel of John, and Jesus did X, Y, Z. Well, Jesus doesn't own a business. Jesus doesn't have kids. He doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have friends who robbed. I mean, they betrayed him and whatever. But there's not much you can relate to with Jesus. But when you talk about when these rabbis talk about life, like what do you do in your business, and this, what happens to you over here, what do you say about that? Virtually everything is covered. Christians don't have this daily lectures. The Muslims don't have it. You guys have that. Plus, you have Shabbat, which gives you guys a time together with the family away from all the technology.
Yeah.
And so you guys are so organized. I made a joke when I was on Jeremy Boring's podcast. I said, Jews have organizations to organize their organizations. All you do is organize. So you're able to achieve your goals much quicker than most people, while at the same time destroy yourselves just as fast, right?
Yeah.
This is the truth. So you could do great, wonderful things while also doing great, bad things like communism, right? Now, that's what's going on. And then I learned throughout history, for example, I learned that um, Tiberius Alexander, this was Titus's general. He was responsible for destroying the temple. Jews were destroying the temple before they got there. It's Hanukkah is a war between Jews. So
Yeah.
when you become an anti-Semite like me, and like Hitler was too, he thought everything was just, okay, this is their genetics. They take both sides. And anti-Zionism and Zionism is fake. And it's just, they're just fighting each other to make it look like it. Now they're actually fighting each other. And what happens is you guys get to the top of these things and you are in control of those arguments and it looks like in control of it. But that's because you guys are literally fighting each other with all you have. Right. So that's the thing.
What have I always said to you? Sorry, finish the sentence. 2 Jews.
3 opinions. Yeah.
There you go. You've learned well,
It's even more than that
grasshopper.
if you look at other things, but
It's
so
more than 3, by the way. It's probably
yeah,
like
yeah.
100 opinions.
So
By the
you
way,
learn about that, and
yeah.
I think the biggest thing, because look, when you become an essentialist anti-Semite, when I say your genetics are defective, there's no escape. You cannot convert to Christianity. You can't become a non-Jew. You can't denounce Judaism, no matter where you go.
I know Jesus wasn't a Christian, which the low anti-Semites don't understand. Because
Mhm.
how can you worship yourself, right? I mean, they say he was the first Christian. He was a Jew.
Right?
So
He
if
was
you're going
Jew.
to
I
talk
mean,
about
yeah, and then there are
genetics,
people who,
Jesus, you're the God of many, right? No, I know not all Christians believe he was God. They think he was the Son of God, the Messiah. I get all that. But if you're going to get into the genetic argument, this is what I mean. They don't think things through. They don't think things through. And by the way, also, if we no, sorry, continue what you're saying. I know I'm jumping a bit, and then I'll
Well,
get on
well,
to
if
what I was going to
whatever
ask.
Jesus, some people don't even think he existed. So my friend Adam Green has a book
Yeah.
on that
Are
about.
you still friends with Adam Green?
Oh yeah, we're cool about it. He's actually not. He's less. He's not even an anti-Semite. He's just against religion in general.
Religion. Yeah.
But now he's really against Christianity. Like it's almost like he's almost like away from the Jewish religion.
Well, by the
And,
way, and this is an important point. It's a good
yeah,
segue. I'm not against the Christianity, and most
right.
Jews aren't. And that's one of the things. This whole goyim narrative. The word goyim means nations. It's all over the
Yes,
Bible. Now, yeah, am I going to pretend that there aren't some Jews that use the word goyim derogatory? No, of course there are. I'm not going to
Dave, we are.
lie to you.
We do it too as a joke.
No,
We're
what I'm
sick of the
saying is
goyim.
you
Yeah,
guys do it more. I'm
yeah.
offended by you guys saying goy slop and the goyim. I don't call, and this is the thing. I'm an observant Jew, right? I wasn't brought up an observant Jew, but I'm an observant Jew. And, I'm against the anti-Semites more than anyone. But do you know how many Christian friends are like amongst my closest friends, even though I live in Israel? I
Mhm.
was at
Yep.
the University of Western Australia, right? I lived in Perth, Western Australia. That's where I come from. And most of of course, I had my Jewish homies, but many of my close friends, one of my best friends was a Muslim guy. He wasn't a very good Muslim, but he loved the alcohol and he loved the women. Okay. But he was so much fun to party with. I like to party just like the other guy, like you probably were partying.
Mhm.
Um, and I had a lot of and this is the thing I said to you in our first conversation. It's a values thing, meaning I'm attracted to people of the same values.
Right.
So there are Jews, obviously, that have the same values with me, and I live in Israel. Of course, most of my best friends are Jewish with the same values. But I've got a lot of Christian and non-Jewish Muslim friends. Before the Abraham Accords, one of my good friends, Stanley from Dubai, I'm still friends with him. We were talking. We met on X, by the way. Same values, family values, but the ability to have fun and to have a good sense of humor, to look at the world in a certain way that you can make fun of things. You're serious, but you can make fun of things. And that's kind of the things that attract me to other people as friends. But that's, I think, one of the things I want to kind of dispel, one of the myths, that Jews are against the white people. Jews are against the goyim. It's such pardon my French, it's fucking bullshit. Of course there are Jews who are very insular, like some of the Lakewood guys probably haven't met a non-Jew. Doesn't mean they hate non-Jews. They probably look at some of you as if you came from a different planet, right? They probably look at me as if I came from a different planet because I'm a modern Jew, right? And I'm a
Mhm.
religious Jew, but I'm modern. So what I'm trying to say is that this us against them thing, it's one of the other myths, like the truthers or any other kind of like lie you've been told about Jews. The fact that we hate the goyim, we love them so much because
Well,
Jewish men like
intermarriage is really
non-Jewish
high.
women maybe a bit too much, right? That's the joke. You ever watch Seinfeld? The
Yeah,
Shakespeare.
I've read statistics where intermarriage is like 71% in America. It's like you want to talk about suicide rates, not like killing yourself, but like blending yourself out of existence.
Yeah.
Jews are like the worst at it. They literally marry into the goyim and the other
No, don't say
nations.
goyim. No. I'm gonna cut you
I
off.
know. But I'm saying they intermarry like no other. Like every friend I know that's a Jew has intermarried. Every one of
Now,
them.
the
So
reason, and it's a good segue because one, what I've said to you before, and I've said online, I believe in God. You don't have to believe in God. So, and I'm not trying to convince you, but because I believe in God, I believe that everything comes from God, good, the bad, and the ugly. But the ugly and the bad we have to learn from it and live a meaningful life. It's not, evil is a tool for good if you know what to do with it. So anti-Semitism comes from God, no question. He's in control of history. He's above time. Again, these are my thoughts. I'm not trying to convince you, and I want to hear your thoughts as well. It's weird because as someone that fights anti-Semitism so hard, I'm one of the only ones that of the mainstream people fighting anti-Semitism so hard that will publicly say, but anti-Semitism comes from God. We
right.
look in the Bible and we see that Pharaoh, right, when the Jews wanted to leave Egypt, God hardened Pharaoh's heart. Now,
Yeah.
Pharaoh was a bad guy. We can get into issues of did he have free will and all this? Let's put that aside. My point being, God orchestrates some of the worst atrocities. Now, I'm not going to get into the Holocaust and stuff like that. That's not my point. My point is with anti-Semitism that yeah, I have to fight it. God wants us to do what we call hishtadlut, the effort to live a meaningful life, and He wants me, I think, to fight anti-Semitism and bring people together, like we're trying to do now, you and me. But I still believe, like, if you believe in an omnipotent being, it doesn't make sense that there's anything that happens that isn't on His watch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That
and
would be
what I
like He's not omnipotent. If you're saying you're sneaking around and He doesn't know, and I'm gonna, you know. So just to get back to what you were saying, I believe one of the reasons God put anti-Semitism in the world is to keep Jews together, to
yes.
stop assimilation. Now, I know there are people watching this, well, not live apparently, but they're going to be watching this. Uh, you think you're better than the goyim, and no, the chosen people concept, and you probably know this, but I'm saying it more for the people that are watching and don't understand Jewish philosophy and law. It's about spreading ethical monotheism, a light into the world, a light into the nations. It's all written in the Bible. We don't think we're superior. We have an inferiority complex. What are you talking about? Woody Allen, man.
Right.
Okay, some of us might love ourselves a bit too much, but like, we don't think we're better. When I say we, yeah, we're not a monolith, right? I'm talking about like the belief system now, not the individuals, right? I'm sure that Epstein apparently
Well,
thought
he
he
was
was,
a supremacist. He
and
himself,
and
yes, he was
Epstein
a
is
yes.
is evil, and I hope he's burning in the embers of hell, right? Like, and George Soros as well, and anyone that mentions Soros as a bad person doesn't make them an anti-Semite, because then I'm an anti-Semite. I've called him out, right?
Yeah.
I've always been calling out the bad Jews. Maybe our definition of what a bad Jew might have differed somewhat, but like, plenty of bad Jews, right? But assimilation, because we have this, and by the way, another, let's say, proof that we don't look down on non-Jews is that the highest form of Jew is a non-Jew that converted.
Yes. I was told
Now,
that
I
by
know the
Rabbi
Jewish
Reuven.
community a lot look down on the non-Jews, but these people are sinning. I'm not,
Right.
again, Lucas, I'm not going to bullshit you now or anyone watching this. We have all warts, we have our problems in the Jewish community. I'm now talking about our values, what we're supposed to be, not how it is in reality. Is there discrimination, racism, and looking down on non-Jewish converts? Hell yeah. It's despicable, and I call it out. But we, in Jewish thought and in the Talmud, and we'll get to the Talmud, the dirty word, in a minute, because I saw before when we advertised this, someone asked, I saw on the tweet,
You
ask
denounced the
ask him
Talmud.
about the
Yeah.
Talmud. Do you
Yeah. Yeah.
repudiate the Talmud? Fuck no, and I'm going to explain why. But because the Talmud is not what you low IQ anti-Semites think it is, and just because you go to neo-Nazi sites or get misinterpret Safaria translations, doesn't mean you know what the Talmud is. We'll get, that's an interesting topic on its own. But my point being that we against assimilation just because it's a self-preservation thing, and just like Italians, maybe close knit Italian families, the parents want them to marry other Italians, and I
Right.
think it's a beautiful thing, by the way, Lucas. I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think people should be like militantly, I disown you. But love is love and all that jazz. But
Yeah. Well, what you
there's a
just said
reason
about
for it.
well, what you just said about converts being loved even more, I heard from another rabbi just a few days ago. I was telling you,
By
I
the way, I'm
spoke
not a
with
rabbi. I just play one on
right, right. I
television.
know, but I'm saying they have told me the same.
Yeah.
And like I said, you're not even on the same. You guys aren't even the same kind of Jew, right? So I've heard the same thing. Like, and by the way, Rabbi Akiva was a convert. Ruth was a convert.
Who was
Um,
Ruth, by the way?
isn't that King Solomon's mother, right?
King
King
David's
David.
grandmother. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
So
highest, the most royal family comes from the converts, and
mhm,
that's teaching us a lesson. And we were slaves. Judaism is so, I can't explain to you, and again, I've told you this before, I'm not trying to convert anyone, right? In fact, we make conversion a bitch.
I know.
We make people not want to convert because we want the sincere people. But I'm hell yeah, I'm going to sell my belief system, just like I want to hear more about your belief system, because Judaism gets the worst rap in history. It's so opposite of what you think it is. Look at the Chabad. You know the Chabad you call Lubavitch. Some of you call Lubavitch. Chabad. They are the most beautiful. I know all the tunnels and all this stuff, but the Lubavitcher Rebbe, who died, I think, in the 90s, there were even non-Jews that go to the Ohel at 770. You said 764 before with the bad guys.
Mm,
770 is the Chabad in Crown Heights. By the way, you should go there and pray. Non-Jews have felt miracles. I know some Lubavitch people think he's like the Messiah,
right.
but Jewish thought is that if you believe a dead dude can be the Messiah, then Jesus can be the Messiah. But like, we don't believe, according to Maimonides, the Rambam, there's certain criteria, and being dead is definitely not one of them. So
Yes.
I'm just mentioning that not to put down Christians or Chabad, but just a bit more of an insight into mainstream Jewish thought. Yeah, so, but they do so much outreach with the non-Jewish world as well. Like John Voight, the actor, is a huge Chabad fan. But they get such a bad rap, like they're Jewish supremacists. They're the opposite. They're
Right.
about the tikkun olam, and it pisses me off so much, Lucas, that I can take the libels and everything, but it's the exact opposite. It hurts me because it's like I just wish. And again, we're not trying to convert anyone. It's just like, let us be, but we want to help the world. We're amongst the biggest charity givers in the world, yet we have the reputation of being stingy. Like it's gaslighting. First they gassed us, and then they gaslit us, as I keep saying. So in you had some contact with the Lakewood guys. Have you? Tell us a bit about maybe some things. Maybe you don't agree with everything I've said, or you haven't seen it, but have there been things which have opened your eyes? Again, there's no $7,000, being passed over here, and I don't even know what you're going to answer now. And you can even say you haven't seen it and you disagree with me, and that's fine. This is a discussion. This isn't about you bending down and kissing the wall.
Right.
I'm
So
just curious, as a friend, like, have you seen anything that's like, holy shit, like that's like complete opposite of what I thought, or maybe not. I don't know.
No, when I met with first the first contact with some Jewish people after me walking away was at the gym. Guy walks up and say, "Hi, are you Lucas Gage?" I go, "Yeah." What's
Wait
going
a
on?
second. Let me stop you there. Jews working out. That's the first thing
There
you
was
might
two
not
Jews.
know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and he introduced himself. His name was, I think, Matthew. It was Matt, or no, Mark. Mark, and he's like,
What,
"Hey, listen,
Matthew sounds very goyish, no?
no, but he's not." So and he introduced him. We talked for like 45 minutes, and that was a cool talk. Then the next day, another guy named Bruce came up, same thing. And so Jake Turks reached out to me, and he's like, "Hey, maybe you want." I said, "Well, I just, maybe I don't want to talk to you. I don't know. I'm just whatever." And I said, "You know what? Why not? If I'm going to build bridges, I'm going to actually do it. Right? I don't BS. I'm a man of my word. Okay, fine. Let's have a coffee." That's when I met Jake Turks. 2-hour coffee with him, talk about everything. He had the curls and everything, right? This
How
Orthodox
is
guy.
he, by the way? I've never met him.
He's a funny guy, very nice, very cool.
He's
And
like a
very,
White House correspondent, right?
yes, yes. So then he's like, "Hey, let's have dinner one day." So we already planned it. I said, "Okay, well, dinner one day." And so we went to Lakewood, went to this kosher restaurant. And he's like, "I'm bringing a friend." I'm like, "Oh, here's the Mossad agent." I made a joke, right? And his friend was Isaac Shapor, because he wrote an article about my conversation with Jake Turks at the coffee shop in one of the Lakewood local newspapers. And everyone was excited. "Oh my God, this guy, really? Oh my God." Because everybody knows me. Okay. So I go to the restaurant and we have this amazing food. The owner comes up, "Baruch Hashem, what do you want? Anything?" Every $800. I don't know what it was. A lot of money. Okay. This is like $50 prime ribs off the bone, beautiful, amazing food,
Take my money
nonstop
now.
plates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and yes, I'm Lucas. And so Isaac has a WhatsApp. He's like, "Let's take a picture." I'm like, "All right, let's take a picture." We take a picture. I put in the WhatsApp because he kind of has like an Israeli accent. I said, "All right, yeah." Within 5 minutes, everyone goes, they all look at me because they all have the WhatsApp. It's like the newspaper WhatsApp. And everyone's, "Oh,
It's a
hey,
Nazi.
hi, my name is," I forgot the name. Everyone wanted to talk to me. Everybody, and him and this one guy and his wife, this other person come up to me. And it's like, "Oh my God, you're really here." And I started telling him everything. And it was an amazing conversation. And one of them said, "Yeah, we were really scared." I'm like, "Well, here I am. I don't bite. And I'm here to let you know I would never hurt you. I know my words were scary and what I said was crazy. But here I am to show you that I'm building these bridges."
Oh, wait a
And
second. Did you get the feeling that maybe they're all actors and they wanted to give you an
no,
impression of
what
Jews?
was shocking, Dave, is after all I've said and done, they were instantly forgiving, not forgetting. They said, "Look, we would never forget." I said, "I know you don't have to. I don't forget either, but we're going to open our arms." I said, "Okay." It was so welcoming, like the amount of appreciation of me. Just like they said, "I can't believe it's you. I can't believe you woke up." All
Yeah.
this, they were shocked because you see, a lot of people paying attention to me over the year and a half, right? Of calling out all the grifters and the scammers. Everyone saw me, right? Even after I got swatted 16 times, I kept going. I got kicked out of X for 3 months, came back, kept going.
That
6 months.
wasn't me, by the way.
I know. Well, no, this is Elon
You
type.
thought
This is
it
the
might
top.
have
Yeah.
been.
Yeah. So every time I came back stronger, and you couldn't stop me. This is the one guy you can't stop. So it's like, all right, well, this guy. Then I made that song, Boom Boom Tel Aviv, right? And that
Oh,
went
wait a
super.
second. Let me tell you something. Wait a second. I know I'm interrupting, but I'm gonna forget
Yeah,
because of my ADD. I got to tell you something about that. First of all, disgusting song. Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
My in-laws live in Tel Aviv. The Holocaust survivors live in like. And by the way, you'd love Tel Aviv. But anyway, but having said that, and this is why I'm interrupting you. I was talking about a friend yesterday about this thing, which apparently he wanted to watch live. He's not able to watch live. He'll watch the replay, hopefully. And he goes, David, I got to tell you something. I find myself, doing chores or whatever, and I'm humming Boom Boom Tel Aviv. It's fucking catchy. I got
Yeah.
to stop myself.
Yeah. It was catchy.
God.
It was
And this is
very catchy.
and you
Yeah.
gotta laugh. It's catchy, and you as an anti-Semite, and why you were effective to all sorts of fellow anti-Semites at the time. Low IQ, high IQ because you can articulate yourself. Low IQ because you're entertaining,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I try to be entertaining as well. So again, Superman to Lex Luthor, and that's a skill. So you have the ability to talk in a way which engages people. And yeah, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, but it's an important thing,
You have
and
to have
hopefully now
charisma.
you use it for good
Yeah. You have to have charisma. But yeah, the song was catchy, and you know, it blew up in like a week. It was
pardon the
billions,
pun.
some stupid numbers. Yeah. It was so big that Cyberwell Security had to intervene. That's an
By the way,
Israeli
I know
company.
someone from Cyberwell.
Yeah, we need to
I
talk
mean,
to
I
them.
don't work with them, but I met them once, and
We
like
need to
we
tell
were
them, "Hey, give me
joking
my
about
YouTube,
you.
please.
I
Please
mean,
give
I'm
me my
telling you
YouTube."
now. Like I said, oh, Lucas Gage, she's like after you, and we were laughing about. I'm just telling you, we were laughing
Yeah,
about it, but I
but
nothing to do with that, and they do their thing.
no, they intervened because it was so viral on TikTok, and everyone's I never girls are dancing to it, people are doing tracks to it, and people are making
Makes
remixes
it
of it.
very effective. But like the
And you know what it was, Dave? It was that here's how I felt. So I'm watching the kids in Palestine blow up, and I said, okay, finally, boom, boom. They got finally Israel's getting hit. Not that I love that people are going to die on any side whatsoever, but the fact that okay, if Israel's getting hit, this will stop.
well, wait a second, Lucas. I got to call you out on something or
Sure,
ask
sure.
you. Push back. At the time when you were the peak of your anti-Semitism, did you not, when you did Boom Boom Tel Aviv, you're telling me now that you actually didn't wish for Jews to
No, no, no.
die?
I want it like I don't want anyone to die, like
No,
literally
now you
die.
don't. I'm saying
Yeah.
back then when you did the song, maybe you did want us to die. We were
Well,
the
no,
demons,
I wanted you to get what you deserved. That's why the
which
song
is to
says now it's
which
your
is to
time to bleed.
die. No,
Well, not like you know what I'm saying. Like
no.
I don't want
I'm
anyone to
not
die
trying
in
to like
war.
gotcha. You're not that person now. I'm trying to understand the mentality. Again, this isn't a gotcha thing. We're friends
Well,
now.
I know.
I want to try to really understand. You did a Boom Boom Tel Aviv, which means you want Iran rockets to land in Tel Aviv, which is one of the most densely populated cities of
But
hundreds of thousands.
it's more of about a symbolic
Okay,
attack
it was a
rather
symbolic
than
boom boom.
yeah, it's not like bomb Washington. You want to destroy the government. You want to
Even when you were an anti-Semite at your peak,
yeah,
you were kind of like a, how do I say it?
ethical, like an ethical
Like no,
anti-Semite.
not an ethical. Yeah, okay, ethical anti-Semite, but kind of like a symbolic anti-Semite, meaning the ideas. But like you didn't actually want Jews on the ground to be dead ever.
Well, I'll give you an example. October 7th, have you seen a single video of me celebrating? Yeah, you got him. Not one.
No video, but you did say afterwards they got what they deserved or something like that.
Well, this was going to happen, right? And
Or
the
this was going to
second, but here's
happen.
the
Yeah,
thing: the
yeah.
second it happened, I knew Palestine was gone. I'm like, you guys, I let it.
Okay. So Lucas, let me ask you something about this.
Yeah,
Do you believe that we are genociding Gazans?
That's a very hard question to answer because I heard so many different things. I mean, there's 800,000 dead. There's only 70,000 dead.
Wait, who
Now,
said
here's what I would say.
800,000? Hamas haven't said
I
800,000. You
know,
know,
I know. So we'll get into Israel if you want, but
I
um,
definitely want to get into Israel because we're
yeah. So
probably
let me
going to
just finish
disagree.
what I feel about Boom Boom Tel Aviv, and then we'll get into
Yeah,
this whole thing.
yeah.
So Boom Boom Tel Aviv to me was okay. Finally, Israel's getting what it deserves. Now they'll come talk peace. That didn't happen. So after that, I kind of like, oh God, you know how Ye made his song and then he distanced from it. It was funny for a minute. You know, the Heil Hitler song. Okay. Now it's like, same thing with me. It's like, okay, because everyone's like, where's number two?
Yeah.
Like, this is not funny anymore. Israel got what it deserved. Maybe it was going to stop. It didn't stop. I'm like, okay, now more people are dying. So when October 7th happened, I didn't celebrate it because they were killing civilians. Now, in the mind of their mind, every Israeli is an occupier. I've talked to people who are
Oh,
activists
not
in the
just the 67 territories, right?
right. No, everyone there is game.
Which
Anybody
is an
unarmed.
important point that most people don't get, by the way.
Yeah. So
Occupy
for
means
me, as a
I'm an
warrior, Gabe,
occupier.
yeah, as a warrior, you are not game unless you're armed. So the fact that Hamas went over there and killed any civilian, if they just killed only IDF, okay, hey, what a mission, right? Likewise, if the Israelis they pulled out that beeper thing, if it was only Hezbollah, oh, but some civilians were hurt. So when civilians die, I
Wait a
cannot.
second. Wait a second, though. The beeper
Yeah,
thing, would you admit that it seemed to target the terrorists and maybe some
well, of
civilians with
course it
collateral
was meant to do
damage?
that. Yeah, I'm just saying I don't like when civilians die ever. You know,
No,
period.
I hate it.
Yes, exactly. But I'm saying,
But is it not war? Like civilians dying? Isn't every war
I know,
fucked up? And
I
you
know.
fought in wars.
Yeah, I know. So what I'm
But there's a
saying is
difference
that,
between war and genocide.
yeah. So what I'm saying that when I saw the beeper thing, what a crazy thing. It took all that time to pull it
Wait, were
off,
you
but
impressed with the beeper thing? Come on, be
well,
honest.
everyone was
It
like,
was fucking
wow,
ingenious. It was a long game. It was
it
a
was what,
long
10
game
years to do? It
operation.
was 10 years, right? Or
No,
how long was it?
so even though you were an anti-Semite, or you identified as an he, she. No, I don't know what your pronouns were, but you identified as
ZG.
an
Yeah,
anti-Semite back then. Probably he, whore.
yeah.
But definitely you were never identified as a she. But did you not? Part of you go, fuck, that's like kind of impressive. Like that's like
Well,
your
yeah,
intellectual side
the
was like,
same thing. Like, I'm Mr. Anti-War. What Trump did with Venezuela, it's crazy. You got
like
to
in a
admit,
good, in
wow,
a way, it's like, wow, that's fucking impressive. Like
yeah,
they
so
did
you
that
can be impressed with an
and
enemy's
against it.
tactics.
Yeah.
You can, you know.
Mm.
I mean, you know, even if the Nazis, like the way they took Poland and like so quick, all right, wow, you know, it's like okay, they're
Oh
Nazis,
wait,
but you know,
you're not comparing the beeper operation to the Nazis
no,
taking
I'm not. I'm
Poland.
just saying, you know what I mean, though. Like
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I just don't want anyone to twist the
so
sound bites.
yeah, so like I'm saying with these things, you know, I just don't like when civilians die. So when the Boom Boom Tel Aviv song happened, I knew most Israelis were in shelters. I mean, you guys have all these shelters. I didn't
I
think how
was in
many
a shelter
casualties.
with my kids,
Yeah.
and by the way, there was debris that landed right near where I live. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to pretend to be a martyr, but like, I, anyone was fair game, right?
Right.
The difference is that they're indiscriminate, whereas Israel, I know there's a lot of collateral damage and it's hard to explain, but like I know the intent isn't there for a genocide because Lucas, if we wanted to genocide them, you know, with our weaponry,
Well, yeah.
more
So
than most
that's
people,
so this is the
we could have
this is
done it.
the
We could have wiped them out already. Come on.
yeah. So there's this kid. There's not a kid. There's I've been since I've opened up to every dialogue now because I learned everything about Israel after October 7th. That's it. I've learned recently that well, Jews were migrating in the 1800s, and there was the
By the
Hebron
way,
massacre.
yeah, hello, but there were Jews from the Second Temple
Right, right.
still
So it's funny because
all the way
on the
through.
Palestinian side, they'll say, "Well, Israel starts on October 7th. Everything went wrong," but they'll say Nakba was wrong. Well, actually, before the Nakba. Then I asked my Palestinian friend, I said, where was Free Palestine during the Ottoman Empire? Where was it under the British mandate? So what I learned was, unfortunately, this is what happened. These two people created identities at virtually the same time, and they want the same land. So it's going to happen, the war. Now, what's happening in Gaza now, horrific, absolutely disgusting. But is it literally a genocide? What I'm watching now are people discussing this. Okay. They'll say every scholar say it's a genocide. Every ICC, there's that argument. Then I'm seeing people like this guy, Nick Mattel, been watching him lately.
He's very
He's like,
good.
look, 70% of the buildings are gone. What's the death toll? 70,000. Well, shouldn't it be a million? If Israel was just carpet bombing, which they're not doing,
We're not.
because carpet bombing is literally like World War II. They just drop everything, right? There's a lot of stuff that's not true about what's being said by Israel. All right. And I realized that recently, even the resistance accounts, this is when I started waking up, because not only the scammers and crypto scammer people in my group, even the resistance accounts started saying Bibi died. I'm like, no, he
Oh
didn't. And
yeah,
I
the whole
started,
Bibi died thing. Yeah.
so all these, I'm like, wait, you're not supposed to be lying. So what else are you lying about? So like, there's lies coming out both sides in the case, but in order for it to be a genocide, there's specific things like, now they'll say Bibi said Amalek. He was talking about Hamas. They do things like this. Now, yes, is Israel cut off supplies? Is Israel, there's bombed hospitals? There's all these different
Wait a
things.
second. Wait a second. Is the hospitals that Israel bombed? They had headquarters Hamas. They were being used. This is the thing, and you don't have to agree with me, right? But I've studied this a lot. Hamas. We have a Western mentality. This is the problem with most of these kind of activists, these woke
Yeah.
activists. Not that you were ever woke, but there's a mentality here that the West doesn't really understand. You would never use your kids as human shields, right? You would never use New Jersey where you live and fire rockets at Mexicans if you hated Mexicans or we want to take over Mexico, for want of a better analogy. But like, this is real, Lucas. Like, and it's a death cult mentality. Do I
The
think all
martyrdom, that's
Gazans
another
deserve
thing,
to
Gage.
die? No, of course not. But like, and by the way, most of them are too scared to speak out.
Yeah, I've
And that's
learned.
the problem. So,
So,
like, the problem is Hamas is the problem, not all Gazans. Yes, on October the 7th, were there civilians and are there civilians now that enable Hamas? Yeah. Do I agree with some of my fellow Israelis and Jews that say all of them are culpable? No, I
right.
don't. But again,
Yeah,
we're not a monolith. Okay, I'm talking
right.
about me now and my views. But
Yes.
like, people need to understand that we're dealing with the most cynical use of civilians and hospitals.
Yes. And look,
Anyone Google, like seriously, or ChatGPT, don't listen to me. No,
right.
I'm
So
being
I had
serious.
to,
I stand by what
right.
I'm saying. You will find out that, first of all, there was a hospital at the beginning of the war that I think it was a Hamas or Islamic Jihad rocket that like malfunctioned and hit it.
Mhm.
And it was blamed on us. But we have hit hospitals that were used as command centers. Under international law, they lose the immunity or the protected status if they're used as a military, goal. So it's, and I'm going to get a bit personal here now, Lucas. You know this. I don't know if, and some of the viewers know this, but like my stepson, he was killed in Lebanon. Okay,
Mhm.
so I got remarried. You know, my first wife, she died of cancer.
Yeah, too, yeah.
I remarried right before October the 7th, by the way, in August. So my current wife, amazing woman, and I've told you she's, as white as I am, she's dark, Yemenite Jew, which also can, let's say, get rid of some of the stereotypes that you might have had and a lot of people have about, we're all white colonizers. And the Yemenite Jewish community have their own story of persecution and how we
Oh,
brought them
yeah,
out on
yeah.
planes.
Mhm.
Like, again, I'm not going to get into all this now, and I want to hear more from you than rather me talking. But it's a sore point. I lost my. I'm going to cry. I lost my. By the way, this top I'm wearing. This says Otzmach Geta, which means like a quiet determination. He was a quiet guy, but he had that confidence, that determination. And let's see if I can get the back of it. That's a picture of him. Do you see it?
Mhm. You got to move left a little bit.
Yeah. So a bit of props there. No, but in all seriousness, so like anyone that says we're just genociding, I take it personally as well, because he went into a village, Beit Lif in Lebanon. If we wanted a carpet bomb and Greater Israel and all the stupid low IQ anti-Semitic talking points, we would have carpet bombed them. He lost his life because yes, there's collateral damage. It's a war. Atrocities happen in war, deliberate and not deliberate. Soldiers do bad things deliberately and accidentally. I'm not going to insult anyone's intelligence and say everything we've done is perfect. No. And the adrenaline in war, I mean, not that you did any atrocities, but you fought. So you understand that you get, even the Bible talks about it. There's passages in the Bible where you're allowed to take like a female captive, which seems so, Israelite can take a female captive and make her his wife, right? And it's to shave her hair and cut her nail, like, or let her nails grow and all this stuff to make her look disgusting, right? Because it's sort of like an acknowledgement that human nature is a certain way. Like in the heat of war, things, you'll get the, you know what I'm saying? Like the adrenaline, the endorphins will, but like the Bible kind of tells you, well, listen, we know you're going to want to take this woman and, for want of a better word, fuck her. I speak French, as you know, but it's sort of like, but we're going to do things in a way that you're, going to end
You're
up
not going to
either
love
marrying
her. You're
her,
not going to take her
doing
as
the
right.
honorable thing, even if you start off. Anyway, I'm digressing a lot. But my point being this, that in no universe, again, I'm not, the low IQ anti-Semites are going to look at this and say 7,000 shekels, kiss the wall, liar, subversive Jew, you're talking shit. I don't give a fuck about you guys, really. I'm talking now about the people that are watching this who are like reasonable, intellectually honest, whether you're now against us or for whatever, it doesn't matter. How does it make sense that we're going to lose our young men and women? These are teenagers and 20. Like, this is what our soldiers are, right? They're our kids. I'm taking this really personally, Lucas. Like, as you can tell, like, don't say to genocide because we're losing them because we're trying to avoid human casualties. Yeah, there are a lot of human casualties, but like, I promise you, there would not be one Gazan alive now with our weaponry if
No, of
we
course.
wanted
Yeah,
to
right.
genocide them.
That's right. So the argument
Sorry.
is you could absolutely eliminate them literally. Yes. And that's not what's going on.
We don't want
But
it. We honestly, when I say we, again, not everyone, I'm saying generally speaking, a Gazan people who are happy without Hamas is good for us. Before the first Intifada and before the whole issues with Gaza happened and then we had to withdraw, we withdrew in 2005. People were going in, we had people in Gush Katif, but people were like trading and going in there, and also in parts of Judea and Samaria, which you call the West Bank. Like there was, on the ground, you'd be very surprised. I lived in Israel in 1993 in a place called Efrat, which is considered one of the settlements. The rabbi who started it, he was very good friends with the nearby villagers. They would go to weddings, like things. I'm telling you, it's like a bizarro universe that if you haven't been to Israel and you understand what goes on here, you'd think it's all bullshit. But like I've lived this stuff, you know what I mean? Obviously things are not good right now, but like we want to get on with our, the Palestinian Arab neighbors. We have Israeli
there's 2
Arabs.
million, there's 2 million Muslims as Israeli citizens. So see,
There's no difference between them and the Palestinians except for like citizenship. They're the same nationality.
yeah.
It's just that some accepted to live in Israel and some didn't. But it's not like a different people. And
Right.
I've got Israeli Arab friends and doctors. Like, it's crazy. Judges.
What I wanted to say though is that I learned everything after October 7th. So I'm getting one side of the story. 800,000 dead. They're doing everything they can to kill every single person. And so then I started watching these other people. Nick Mattel is one of them. I started listening to Joseph Cohen.
He's a friend of mine, yeah.
He was talking to Palestinians like, we should be with you. Like one Palestine's, our identities, and I couldn't believe it. Is this fake?
Joseph Cohen lives in also in
Israel now. Yeah, he was
Samaria,
another one of
but he's also pro-peace. Yeah.
Yeah, he was another one of. You didn't attack me as much.
Well, he used one of my things and made a video. I collaborated with him.
Yes.
He was one of my posts and did the
But
video.
I'm watching him talk to Palestinians, and they're like, "Yeah, you know what? We should make peace." I'm like, "Okay, well, why am I getting a different message? Because we have all these other countries that want to keep them fighting Israel forever. That's an issue here. See what I mean? So the Middle East is so complicated. And by the way, people, they should know this, and I've said it before. I've always been a two-state solution guy. Now, nobody likes that. Now, before it was possible, you ask any side. Now
that makes you a Zionist, by the way.
Well,
do you know why?
My friend called me one the other day. I said, all right, then.
Okay, well, what is Zionism, by the way? What is
Zionism is that you guys want a homeland. That's really it.
Self-determination in our historical homeland. If you believe in a two-state solution, you believe that the Jews deserve a state of their own.
Right,
That makes
right.
you a Zionist, by the
So
way.
that's what I told but he got mad at me. He's like, really? I said, I've always had this position. He's like, you're a Zionist. I'm like, okay, well, that's what I've never said destroy all the Jews. I've never said that. Like river to the sea in
Slay
either
the
direction.
demons, no?
What's that?
Slay the demons, you said.
Right. I did say that. But
But you meant it figuratively, but you're
I
a
meant
low
it in the
IQ.
space. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why awesome Jew. I said, well, you clip the next sentence. I say what that means. You sneaky bastard.
I
That's
know
what I.
what you meant, but like
Yeah,
most of your low IQ Neanderthal followers at the
right.
time
But to
actually
go back
thought
to
you were
Israel
being. They don't
Palestine, it's
understand nuance and like metaphors and stuff
yeah.
like that.
But
Anyway,
to go back to Israel Palestine, I'm still learning more stuff about the Israeli narrative. So I can't determine that there's nothing going on. Listen, Dave, I've seen so many blown up children. It's insane. I cannot
you
say.
all have.
And I've seen Israeli
Some of them are
telegrams.
AI, but some of them are real, of
But here's the
course.
thing. I've seen Israeli telegrams full of 300,000 people laughing at children. I'm like, really, guys? What are you
Oh
laughing
my
at?
God, we have our idiots,
Yeah.
Lucas.
It's
By the way,
like
Shmuley B'Tei,
4chan.
we get to Shmuley B'Tei, not that he's laughing at dead children,
Right.
but like in terms of me being outspoken against America's rabbi, there are people you detest that I detest, and
Yeah.
that's I think maybe being lost in all of this.
Well, that's the key, Dave, is that the monolithic, they look at Ben Gvir and say, that's how they all think. 80% of Israel wants to kill everyone. Like, and as I talk to more Jews, religious Jews like yourself, rabbis, literally Orthodox, secular Jews who reject religion completely, I know you're not a monolith. I know it for a fact. You guys don't need, some of you guys are like, wow, Lucas Gage changed. We love him. Others like, well, let's wait a little longer. Others, I
I
don't
was like,
trust him at
let's wait
all.
a little longer.
Yeah. Others like, I don't trust this guy at all. He's tricking us. He's going to get us. I'm like, yeah, once I get my blue check mark, I'm going to post Hitler one more time. No, but there is no monolith. You're like everyone else. And that's
Not
what,
only is he not a monolith, we're the most divisive. And again, you just have to look at the Bible. But
you
if
know,
you meet Jews, we cannot agree on anything.
but even in
We annoy
Israel,
each other.
even
It's
in Israel.
so
So from my,
even. Yeah, sorry.
former viewpoint, Israel was an ethno state and it's all Ashkenazi. First of all, half of you Ashkenazi, half. Okay. That's it.
Oh,
The
we
other
have
half is
half
not.
Mizrahi.
Right. And so
My
you don't
wife
even
is
have that.
Yemenite,
Right.
dude. My
And
wife
then
is
you have,
Yemenite.
then you have Muslims living there with full rights. And then everything else is this issue around the other places. So for me, it's like, this is such a complicated situation. If I just learned it after October 7th and I only learned one side, I still have to learn more. So I've been watching this guy, Nick Matau. He does really well with just debunking all this stuff to the point that,
And he's not Jewish, by the way. I think
no,
his
he's
wife
not.
is
He's not.
Jewish.
I
But
think his wife is Jewish, but I
yeah.
watch him on live. I watch everybody. So now I'm doing my due diligence. And as I'm doing this and I'm expressing like, oh, the dancing Israelis are a nothing burger. Oh, you're a Jew. It's like, and oh, you don't believe the bombs? Well, listen, I stopped believing the bombs years ago. You know who told me? David Duke, of all people. I was on Skype in 2015. David Duke, we're like, let's go through these claims about these bombs. And he broke down David Duke. He's not a Jewish shill,
He hates
right?
us.
Right. So the point I'm making is I let go of a lot of these conspiracy theories a long time ago, but I didn't talk about it. I said, well, the Jews did it anyway. It didn't matter right? Whatever happened, the Jews did it. That's how you get to, but
That's
then,
the mentality.
but Dave, then I saw the Charlie Kirk conspiracy being created. And I'm like, well, why would the Jews do this? Why would Israel? Why
He
would
was our
anyone do this?
friend. By the way, the rabbi that was like Charlie Kirk's rabbi, Pesach Wilicki, he's a friend of mine. So I have a connection to Charlie Kirk in that way. Conspiracy.
But
Yeah, I killed
you
him.
killed- yeah. But
But
I'm saying is we witnessed a narrative that's not true about Jews in our face. Okay.
no, no, but that's the thing. The low IQ anti-Semites, the end justifies the means.
Right.
Meaning demonize Jews, and we're going to subvert and not look at the truth and lie, because demonizing Jews is the end. Christ is king.
I had a
Yeah,
friend
this is the
tell me, literally Muslim. Okay. I
Oh,
made him an anti-Semite. He was not one. He was, oh, it's just a Zionist.
oh,
That was
well
it.
done. Well done, dude.
So I made him, he's worse than me now. Now he's telling me that I'm a traitor and I'm worse than this person. I'm like, I'm just talking to me.
Frankenstein's monster.
And he goes, Lucas, who cares if they think Israel killed Charlie Kirk? It doesn't matter. We're at war. I said, no, it matters. We cannot lie. This is not about let's lie back. Look, if you're on the
Exactly.
battlefield, you're going to lie about where your troops are moving and stuff. But I said, how do you defeat lies? If the Israelis are lying, how do you beat them? With more lies? No. And if these people are lying, so now I'm just being me. See, here's the thing. Everyone thinks I've become a traitor, that I'm getting paid, all this other stuff. I'm literally doing the same thing I've always done, except now I'm pointing the mirror at the Gentiles who are lying and they don't like it. Oh, you got the call. And most importantly, I pointed the mirror at myself. And once I saw the hypocrisy in me, it was game over. I couldn't do it. I tried to
But
talk myself to the greater good. I tried to, you saw me calling all these people scamming, lying, casinos, cheating on all these tradcon Christians. None of them are real. All
the
grifters,
shit flowing, the Jew. We'll get
the
to
Jew
Stu
proof, the
Peters.
J proof, all
Yeah.
that stuff. And everyone saw that. So that's why a lot of Jews are impressed, because they saw me on my own. I took the books down by myself. My bookstore that had Protocols of Zion.
You did? You took it down?
I took down I
I
have
didn't
other
know that.
books that are not
Wow.
anti-Semitic, like my good books on improving your life and other things like this.
No, but you had that struggle, and I thought when you started not becoming anti or
I got rid of it.
reverting.
Yeah,
Oh no, I didn't know that. I thought you said you like stock take sale.
I did it.
They're
Yeah,
about to go.
I did a final sale to get rid of
Oh, you
it.
did the sale. Okay.
I got rid of all of them, and then after that, I was like, wait a minute. If I'm getting rid of this, I don't want it anymore. Why do I even think you know what I mean? And so I got rid of all my books. I threw out the books from Goebbels. I had this many left. I just tossed them. What am I going to sell them for, right? So
All right.
I got rid of my bookstore, dropped all my silly music, which was funny. Some of them was funny. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Remember
booming in
that
Tel Aviv, you could have made a lot of money from that if you
if
wanted to.
if I didn't
It's
distro
like
kid did it.
billions of downloads.
Yeah. But there was a song. Didn't you like the song Oy vey? The one song that was funny. I
I
made
don't think
one
I
song.
said. I don't think I saw that one, but I'm proud of my beat. I did a song about the beepers, about
Oh,
his
okay.
bowler becoming his ballers. I should send it to you. Pretty proud
But
of that.
all my funny songs, some of them were funny and playful. I got rid of them. I shut down just recently my Substack. Just I don't know what to write anymore there, and deleted my Telegram. I got rid of my Rumble. 18,000 people. I just started getting disgusted with
Wow.
the
No,
crowd.
so wait, just stop there for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to say that really shows you have balls. I think, and I'm saying there are people, we have grifters on my side, okay?
Yeah,
Like there
I
are
know.
people on the Jewish pro-Israel side that, yeah, okay, they're doing some good work, but they're like getting, they're kind of intoxicated by the whole clickbait and making money, and they'll do good work, but they'll like do performative cringy stuff because it gets the clicks.
Yeah.
And I call them out, mostly on Instagram, by the way. I call them out as well. It's like, yeah, you did good work, but like, I can see that you're a bit compromised here. But you're basically, what you're saying now is you're like, I need to be true to myself.
That's exactly it.
Intellectually, once something clicks intellectually for me, and it's like, I hold up a mirror and I go, this is against who I am.
Yeah.
Even as hard as it is, I'll lose money. I'll get shat on by former friends. But it's not, but I'm going to do that. So you know what? I'm going to just say, like, I respect that.
That's
Like, I
exactly what
respect
happened. And recently I've lost about 20,000 followers on X. Okay. And every day I get chill, 7,000 trader, anti-white. I don't know where this is coming from. I'm anti-white now. And it's funny because when I went on that interview with Yaakov Langer and Jake Turks, he's like, well, now you're kind of like a Jew. You're experiencing conspiracy theories
I
that
said
are
that
not
to
true at
you.
all.
You feel like, well, we feel like you're being
Right.
gaslit.
Like you literally, who's paying? I wish I was getting paid. I mean, you know what's funny? Even when I was Mr. Super Anti-Semite, I didn't make money. Like $50,000 in 2 years. What is that? From
Oh,
book
that's actually
sales
more
and-
than I made.
well, but you know what? Other people are making millions.
Yeah, I know.
Millions
Even
of
on our
dollars.
side, we have a lot of influencers charging ridiculous amounts to talk bullshit.
So it's like,
again, I'll call
I didn't
people
walk
out on
away
my
from this
side.
with like $10 million. Like, well, that was worth it. I actually lost money, lost friends, I almost lost my family. My wife is such a good woman. Anyone else would have left, Dave. I'm out of here. You're crazy. No, she's not political. My children are not infected by anything I ever said. They have no idea what's going on. Right. But
What does your wife think of, like, when you were being doxxed and stuff? Like, so your
was scared.
wife, like, did she ever like go, like, when you said that the Jews were doxing, did she ever kind of go, you know what, maybe they are bad? Or she was always like, Lucas, I think you got it wrong, or she just sort of stayed out of it? I'm just curious.
It was like, this is bad. This is what's happening. She couldn't say it wasn't them because I was telling her it's them, but she didn't want anything to do with this stuff. She's like, what about our
It
children? This
feels
has
like
to stop.
collateral damage, basically.
She wanted it to stop. And I said, I'll never stop. That's what, that
And
ironically,
now, how does she feel that when you went to Lakewood and had this steak with the Jake Turk, she's
yeah.
like, she kind of warms her heart a bit. She's like, these are
Yeah.
our
So,
neighbors, and
right.
I
She made a
prefer
joke like,
this
don't go too
because
far now. She made a joke. Like, she like, "Well, don't go this like too far." I was like, what are you going to love them now? Is that what you're going to do? Is that what you're going to change? You know, but,
is she also Italian, by the way?
she's Irish and German. Yeah.
Oh, so my dad was German. I mean,
Mhm.
you probably knew that because he escaped. I'm a bit harsh on the Irish these days, but like nothing against all Irish. I just kind of like the country's pretty anti-Semitic these days. But I thought she was Italian. The
No.
interesting thing is I've kind of befriended also like another Italian on Instagram, and he does all these funny videos about him because he married a Jew, and how similar. Like I don't know, like
Yeah.
he's talking about the food and the family and the guilt and the kvetching, the complaining, and it's just so funny. I think Italians and Jews, in a way, are very similar with the family value stuff.
Well, even genetically, I mean, if you look at the Southern Italians and the Jews, the Ashkenazim started there. So that's why I
Interesting.
make a joke. I said, you know what, you Anglo Spurgs up there, you guys don't know how to handle Jews. I'll handle like me. It's like I'm making a joke because we need that. This is what it hit me like, okay, someone's got to build bridges. Someone's got to try. And people, this has already been done. Yeah, by who? Martin Luther. Who tried to actually
No,
sit
Martin
down?
Luther King, maybe, not
No,
Martin Luther.
not Martin Luther. Right. So
He was an anti-Semite.
yeah, exactly. So for me, I'm like, you know what? Clearly, I went too far. I scared people. I put my family at risk. See, I'm not some guy in an apartment. Nobody knows what's going on. I'm a family man, former Marine. Okay. And I went too far. Everyone knows that. I said horrible things. Everybody knows that. I own it. It's disgusting. When I look at old videos, I'm embarrassed because Dave, I really lost it. Like I didn't, I'm like, like look in my eyes at the time. I was like, wow, a lot of pain and anger and everything. Okay. So now that I'm calm and I see things how they are, I'm open to dialogue. This would have never happened, Dave, just a year ago. It would have never happened. It just would not have happened. You would never think I've Rabbi Reuven, other people in the rabbis in Lakewood on the phone, literally. Hey, how's it going? It would never be possible. It would never cross my mind. But when you see the hypocrisy of the side I was on, what am I fighting the Jews for? You're just as bad, if not worse, many cases, you know? So it's like, what? And then to see that friends of mine on the internet, they're like Russian propagandists. So listen, I have no issue with Iran, Russia, China as countries, people, the people inside, even Israel. I'd never said destroy all of Israel, kill everybody. You know, I was always a two-state solution guy. It was always about the governments. People don't hate Americans, they hate our government, right? That's the reality. Our governments don't really represent us. Okay. But then I realized a lot of these talking points about Israel and everything else are coming from these third brown clown worldist types of people, which when I did the Christian Muslim Alliance, remember this, I was one of the big names to put it together. We knew it wouldn't work.
Cynthia McKinney. You had a thing with Cynthia
That was a
McKinney.
JP. Yeah, that was a whole other thing. But like all these other guys, Pakistani people, Muslims of all sorts, let's get together and fight Israel. Well, we all knew it's temporary. We all knew that. And what happened was, while we were saving Palestine and Gaza with the rhetoric, they were going white supremacy and colonialism. It's like, wait a minute, are we working together? Are you stabbing us in the? And look, remember that one rant I made about Palestinians? You guys are stabbing me in the back. I'm fighting for you, and you're calling me a white supremacist and racist. I thought we're both trying to stop both genocides, right? Because the Great Replacement is happening. Obviously, there's an issue there in Europe where it's like birth rates are going down. All these people are coming in.
It's the Jews' fault, right? Even though the Muslims are flooding in, the Jews are the ones that made them flood in.
Well, there are many who are behind that, but it's also the Vatican. It's also
There's also a lot of non-Jews. That's the point.
You know what
it's
it is?
not a Jewish
It's the
conspiracy.
left-wingism, period.
Yeah, it's a left. It's not a Jew or non-Jew thing.
Exactly.
It's an ideology thing. Jews or non-Jews who believe in, and it's a good point that you're raising now, because at the beginning I was mentioning how there's different types of anti-Semites or people spreading anti-Semitism. There's the real, ideological ones like you were. There's the ones who are saying anti-Semitic stuff inadvertently, but they're not. And I've by the way, I've had a Zoom with a guy that I exposed once, and he's like, "Oh my God, he was an Ayn Rand fan. Ayn Rand was Jewish.
She's a Jew, right? Yeah."
And he went down this rabbit hole, and he kind of got a bit lost, and then he was saying stuff, and he didn't realize it was anti-Semitic. I wrote a piece about him, and he's like, "I'm so sorry," and he wasn't just trying to get me to Like, I had a whole Zoom with him, and he was like sincere. He's like, I honestly didn't know. I'm like, I believe
Well,
you.
let's
Like,
can we
and
let's
I deleted the post because I'm not about, I'm about human, I want to improve the world, and yeah, I fight anti-Semitism. But someone like you is like sincere, and I believe you're sincere. I'll delete everything. Like, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, here's
game
my
over.
thing.
Like,
So
you've learned your lesson, or you've the post had the result, which means you're not going to spread anti-Semitism, and you're even going to do the opposite. Why do I need to? Like, what's the point? You know what I mean? But
well,
like, the third type is what you've just hit on now, and we're seeing it a lot now, and that's the anti-Semite for hire, the
mhm,
money anti-Semite. They're not ideological. They're show me the money,
yeah,
and you've got the red green alliance here. So there's a lot of, you've got Qatar, you've got China, you've got Russia, Iran pumping money and anti-West elements. That's the green part and the red part, actually. That it's the old cliche about the canary in the coal mine. The Jew is the canary in the coal mine. First, they came for the Jews. It never ends with the Jews. It's all about, I won't say the West because India was also part of this. It's about against democracy, against freedom. And these people invariably, they'll burn the American flag,
you're right.
right? They're not just anti-Israel. We're little Satan, in the words of Iran. The US is big Satan. They're against our way of life. And the ultimate irony is that these leftists, these far leftists, are the first that Hamas and the radical Islamists that they've gone into bed with. They hate them.
Yeah, like Queers for Palestine is ironic.
The chickens of
Yeah,
the KFCs, we call
yeah.
them. So tell us a bit about what you've learned about that, or what
Well,
your
so yeah,
position
so what
on
I've noted with the Christian Muslim alliance, through my experience, it collapsed because again we're trying to save everyone, and then all of a sudden, well, you're colonial powers. You're the ones that funded Israel. Israel's a white supremacy. It's like they're Jews. What do you mean white supremacy? And nothing added up. Bibi's Hitler. Like, no, he's not. They're not even the same. He's a prime minister. He's not a
He's a
dictator.
flawed guy, but he's not Hitler. Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like they're just making up all these things, like anything to take. And look, Hitler and Europe, these are European history. You're trying to bash European history with Israeli history. It doesn't even make sense. It makes no sense whatsoever, right? It's like, but they try to make it like Hitler would have saved Palestine. Now, Hitler did have a connection with the Mufti, Husseini, I believe his name was. They made a deal about some SS soldiers, whatever.
Yeah, but
But
I mean, Bibi said something about the Mufti causing Hitler to want to kill the Jews, which was wrong. But
that was wrong. Yeah, no one's perfect with that. Yeah.
shat on Bibi, by the way. He kind of exaggerated. There was a connection, but he exaggerated.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So what we're seeing now is that okay, well, the anti-Israel elements are going to the point where they'll take just like the low IQ anti-Semitism, it's big tent anti-Israel. Anybody can join and hate on Israel. Now, for me, like I learned just the other week that Haim Solomon was a Jew who gave Washington the loan to win the war. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know this. It's always like the Jews on the slave ships and that's it. No, they were here. They built America with us. Yeah, they were merchants and things like this. So were our forefathers. Our forefathers were loaded, right? They had land and farm. But Jews helped build this country. It's a fact. It's just like it or not.
Jews helped the Irish with there was a famine, the potato thing. And if you look into that, Ireland being one of the most anti-Semitic places on the planet right now, but Jews also helped save Ireland back in the day. Like, people need to learn their history. It's selective history. They'll find the bad Jews, right? The slave trading Jews. There were just like non-Jews.
Yep.
I'm not going to come here and say no, we didn't. There were Jews that did, of course. But why is it selective? And this is what I said to you in the Zoom call back in the day. I'm like, you're focusing on all the rotten apples, but not the juicy apples.
Right. Yeah.
And
No,
that was my problem. And not only that, you wouldn't focus or you wouldn't call out the rotten apples of the Irish, the Catholics, we're all humans, right? So why somehow the
well,
Jews
it goes back to the disproportionate amount of Jews in a specific area, which it comes to many things. It could be their ethics, it could be their work ethic, or in evil cases, it could be
it's because I think a lot of it. It's a good point. A lot of us
it's organization.
We had to organize because the anti-Semitism actually helped cause it, right? Because we would be kind of put into areas, right? We weren't able to mingle. We were put in like our shtetl,
Mhm.
and we had to organize and then we had contacts with each other. And by the way, usury, which is one of the main arguments, now we see even Roger Waters talking about usury, right? He's really gone down the anti-Semitic path. Roger Waters from Pink Floyd, and but usury, we were forced into usury. We weren't allowed into the regular professions. So, like, it's almost like anti-Semitism creates causes to create more anti-Semitism. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, if it were.
Yeah, I mean the usury thing. I've heard that, but also I heard it's also some people just wanted to make it's a good business too. But um, what was I going to say? The where was I going with this before? What was I saying before the you brought up usury? I think it
Oh,
was
so this is what happens when you ask a guy with
well,
ADD
no,
what you're
so
thinking
there's
about.
Haim
And he corrupts
Solomon,
you.
and then there's okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, so going back to like being a super low IQ anti-Semite, Einstein's a fraud. You can't trust Carl Sagan because he's trying to teach atheism or something. Like any Jew that did any good, like Jonathan Salk, I believe he was the one who helped develop the polio vaccine, which saves billions of lives. No, he was trying to kill us. So that's when you lose it, right? And when I talk about when I mentioned on the podcast with Jake Turks and them that it became like a disease, like every morning, F Israel, F Israel, good morning, everyone but the Jews. That's all the posts that are there. It's like that becomes your life. Now, on the opposite side, remember, there are those who are fighting anti-Semitism that can become that obsessed too. It can happen in both ways. And this kind of creates a war itself. So I'm like, wow, what if we stop doing this and just have these conversations, right? And I think I'm the kind of guy that could do it. Of course, nobody likes it, right? Especially the old people that I left behind. So for me, it's like these conversations and just talking to the other side can save lives. That's why I'm doing this. And I said this before, and you've heard me say it. Now that anti-Semitism is so low IQ and so big tent, this is where it gets dangerous because some guys go, oh, the Jews control the weather and they're going to reduce the population 90%. I better kill them. And that's the dangerous part. It's not like you're going to have some smart guy do a, intellectual guy who talks about
yeah.
banking or the Roth, some other thing like this. Another thing I think is dangerous is the use of the term for everything. It's like you have the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition, okay? There's 11 points. 3 of them have to do with anti-Semitism, like I hate Jews, hurt them. Okay. The other have to do with Israel. Now, maybe you think anti-Israel is anti-Semitism. I don't think that. I
No,
think if you say
exactly right.
Jews shouldn't have a homeland is anti-Semitic because you don't even give them the right to exist. That's, I would argue, like you don't have a right to live. That I could say. But if someone doesn't like Israel, what it's doing, I don't think it's anti-Semitism. I don't even think it's anti-Semitism if you think Jews are rich or Soros has power. Those little tropes are a little
Well,
different
Soros,
than
yeah,
that.
Soros is a
I
different
think
issue.
what I became was a true anti-Semite. I think that's what anti-Semitism is when you,
You didn't think there were any. You even had your friend, the gym guy, and at a certain point, you even threw him down the bus over him because you threw him under the bus because you said no Jews. At one point, I remember you saying this. You kind of went more extreme and you said no Jew is a good Jew.
yeah,
And you were
because
that
not
sort
even
of
if,
person that thought even the Jew that says he's helping, like the doctor you said before,
yeah, I
you're doing
said
it. Yeah,
right. And the reason for that is not because Jews can't be good people. It's because they're
yeah,
Jews
it
and they
is.
have a different agenda and a mindset that just we
Yeah,
cannot mix with. And that's why there are no good Jews. Not that I even wrote this in my book, Our Struggle, even though it's super anti-Semitic. But I said, even at this point, it's not about hating Jews. It's about they just can't mingle with us. They need their own living space. In other words,
yeah,
it's like you need Israel. Right? That's really what it means. And Herzl believed the same thing. Many
yeah,
Jews believed it. You need your own
yeah,
living space, okay? And you have one little place. All right. So for me, it's not about Israel existing or not. I just think the word anti-Semite, there are grifters on the stop
yeah.
anti-Semite side,
Sure.
and they're expanding the word, Dave. They're making it where everything's it's becoming like racist. It's like, oh, you don't like to be on, if you're not on time, it's racist. If you don't like milk, it's
Okay. So by the way, so it's a good point. So I'm very outspoken against that, even the people with outside. And I've kind of mentioned to you earlier on in the discussion, for instance, Stop Anti-Semitism. They do some good work, but like I think that they're too. Greta Thunberg is not an anti-Semite. She's a little shit, and really, she's a kid, right? She's a woke, virtue signaling idiot, but she's not Dan Bilzerian, who actually literally talks against Jews. He uses the word Jew.
Mhm.
The just to say something about the IHRA working definition there, anti-Semitism, Israel is mentioned, but if you look at it closely, It's not like every time you criticize Israel, according to the definition, that's anti-Semitic. It's
Yeah.
when you blame all Jews for the actions of Israel,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
or if you have double standards. It's very specific about how Israel is used. So
Well,
I
but
think
if
that a
you
lot
do
of
compare
times,
Israel to Nazi Germany, that's apparently, and I
look,
don't buy that one.
okay, so I'm going to disagree with you there because I feel that given that Israel's a Jewish state, people that compare us to Nazi Germany, first of all, it's a libel in the sense that we're definitely not doing what the Nazis did, but they know it's hurtful to us.
Mhm.
It gets to our soul. Like you're telling. It's sort of like saying, I don't know, like I take some other race or people that had a trauma, and you're kind of inverting and saying you did that to other people.
It's
You know what
like
I'm
calling
saying?
a
Like,
rapist someone who hasn't been, someone who's been
like
raped, a
a rape
rapist.
victim, you're saying you raped. So yeah, like
Right.
it's this nastiness, and so that's why I, as a Jew, like I understand why. Don't get me wrong, I understand where you're coming from, but you have to stand in the shoes of a Jew to understand why it can be seen to be anti-Semitic. It's sort of like you're using this loaded language to use the very things that are triggering us, and you're accusing us of being Nazis. Like
Right.
there's two elements to it. It's the nastiness of doing that, but it's also the fact that the accusations are false. We're not genociding anyone. I stand by that. There is no genocide, and we're not. If we wanted to, we would have. Like, of course, we don't want to, but you're kind of like rubbing it in more. So that's kind of where it's coming from. I
Well,
understand why it's
another thing for
contentious.
me, the one big one is the Holocaust thing. Okay, now look, for me, I've done the revisionist thing. I've looked at both sides. Something happened. It's very bad. That's where I've concluded at the end of the day. 6,000,000, 2,000. To me, I've always said this, even years ago. I said, you know what? It's not a good thing. And we would bring it up and mock it to just for free speech. Like even Hitler. We bring up Hitler, not because, well, formally, not me now, but
Yeah,
Hitler was a free speech symbol, ironically, even though he wasn't free speech, he, literally the opposite. But because he's the final boss against Jews, oh, we got to say Hitler. And nobody
yeah.
wants a dictator in America. It's ridiculous to think this. But if we could talk about Hitler and his aura and his speeches and his leather jackets and the Nazis and the marches, oh, it's so nice. Look how clean the streets are, all this stuff, whatever the case, that was done to just, okay, let's say it. We're not afraid to say it. Okay. The Holocaust, same thing. We're not afraid to question it. Obviously, bad things happened to it. No one's like, no one died. I don't know if a single person, nobody died. Nobody. No one says that, right? But here's the thing, it's absolutely offensive, period. So, like, but it's also,
It's more, but Lucas, it's more than offensive. That's what I'm trying to say. It's actually triggering to Jews. We have this PTSD, and it's almost like anyone that's doing it, they almost do it, as you said, rightly, you're doing it to kind of like champion free speech, but you're almost setting up a situation. The Jew is going to react. Maybe you think in an over exaggerated way because we have this PTSD from it. Like I told you, my
Mhm.
family was almost destroyed, right? My dad's whole family, besides his parents, right? He was an only child because his mum had to have an abortion to get into Australia. Like it's a huge trauma. You can't understand. So it's almost like, you know what I'm saying? Like I get what you're saying. It's almost
well, it's
like
like
done as
trying
a
to drop an N
meme.
bomb in front of black people to get them to fight you, kind of
You
thing.
know almost how this argument's going to end, and then you're going to be, it
Yeah.
proves you guys are against free speech. You're controlling us. You're canceling us. You have all the power. You control the. It's almost like setting up a certain point. But as you know, although, and you've said this to me before, we're not a monolith, but Jews we have this sort of
Well,
shared trauma.
yeah.
So
So,
an anti-Zionist Jew might react the same way
well,
to
of
you
course.
saying something about Hitler.
Well, here's the thing. So I said this on Jeremy Boring's podcast. I said, Jeremy, they're not a monolith, but if you attack them as one, they will react as one. If I start
Mm.
being anti-black across the board, from people in Africa, people in America, I say all black people are this. They're all going to be like, what? I didn't do that. Same thing with Jews. Even white people are starting to be like this now because
Yeah.
whites are so look, Jews have been a minority on earth everywhere they are except Israel throughout history, persecuted throughout history. They've become this organized group of people. They're still persecuted, right? So they're organized as they survived all their persecutions. So the most organized persecuted group in human history. I think we all agree on that. and they excel with their Torah lessons and how to be good with each other. There's not a single there's not a single homeless person in Lakewood. Okay, so they take care of each other and see each other
Why is that?
because they take care of each other. Charity. They take care of each other, love each other like a big family. So you got this cohesive group. No matter where they go, they're going to succeed. You know who else is doing this? Indians. They're coming from India and they're emulating. They're even saying Hindu phobia, honestly. And what are they doing? Hire each other, take care of each other, love each other.
And by the way, they're one of the most reviled, besides the Jews, right now
Mhm.
online. These psyops operations are attacking Indians as well.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly
No, no.
Pakistanis behind it, and there's a lot of history
Well, there's
there.
Pakistan and India at war. Yes, yes. But I'm
Yeah.
saying, so what I've noticed is that what minorities do anyway, like if I took 1 million white people, moved to China, me and a bunch of guys, white people, we're now a minority. We're going to look out for each other. The Chinese will be like, well, what are these up people are doing? I don't know. I don't like them. They're cool, whatever. I know a few of them. Something wrong happens. It's them. You see what I mean? The white guys did it. Well, get rid of them, right? So it's going to happen to anybody, but any minority acts this way in a majority. What else is going to happen? If you come into a place where there's a majority with other minorities, you're going to stick together against the majority. This is all I see as human dynamics, right?
No, but by the way, no, it's true what you're saying, but I would just say that the Jews, let's take the Jews in America, they're not against the majority. They contribute to public life. A lot of them exceed. Yeah, there's an insular component, especially amongst the religious, right? They're very insular. But like Jews traditionally, what happens is sort of like Jews will rise up in society. They organize, they succeed because of that, because of the culture of intellectual learning, because it's sort of like they have to be determined to succeed. They succeed, they rise up. Look at the Rambam, the Maimonides, who I quoted earlier. He was like the advisor to the Egyptian
Yeah, they're
sultan,
always
right?
up there. Yeah, yeah.
And then what happens is that then, you got too successful or something happens as anti-Semitism. It's not necessarily that the Jew does something wrong. It's sort of like people look at them and go, wow, you're succeeding and we're not. And I'm not saying it's always jealousy, but there's always a reason. And then they get expelled and rinse and repeat. Now, but I think I would like the non-Jewish world to look and go, let's emulate this, like the Indians, as you said.
Right.
And I want Jews to also spread it out. I know that Israel, for instance, Israel's like a sort of like a, you take the micro, which is the Jew, and Israel is sort of like the macro Jew, although it doesn't represent all Jews, of course. But we have humanitarian missions around the world. I just saw today an Australian friend of mine, a former Olympian, Nova Paris. She brought out an Israeli organization to help Aborigines in the remote deserts of Australia with the irrigation and to help them. And this is real tikkun olam. Now, I'm not saying Jews are the only ones that do this in the world. I'm just saying that I think that rather than, people that look at Jews with suspicion as this sort of group that keeps them themselves, I think Jews want to be able to spread the love. And it's just, it takes two to tango. And hopefully with discussions like this, we can help encourage, we need both sides. It's not really sides, right? It's not like us versus them. Jews aren't non-Jew. But I do recognize that there can be a bit of, with all the anti-Semitism in the world, we kind of need the Jewish world and the non-Jewish world to kind of like make
Well, there's
steps
nothing wrong
towards
with
each other.
having different groups. Like, look, I'm not Jewish, you are. Okay, great. So what can we talk
We
about
can
to
still be
make sure?
friends. We still have the
Yeah,
similar values. I
right.
mean,
So
yeah.
and for me, it's like, okay, if we don't talk and we start isolating everybody and labeling them and destroying people's lives, when the Stop Anti-Semites said we will hunt you down and destroy. Okay, that doesn't look good, and I would say to her and everyone else, like, listen, I get where you're coming from. You're scared and all that. But I think it's better to just, first of all, like you said, there are some anti-Semites that are just saying things they don't even know what they're saying. They heard it somewhere
Right.
and they say something anti-Semitic in your view that is not, in their view, what that you're saying. You educate them. Oh, like, look, if someone like me could snap out of it, which is very difficult to do, and I've done this before. Look, when I was Mr. White Nationalist, my sister, I have two sisters. One of them married a mixed person. Before I became race aware, it was no problem. The second I became race aware, I disowned her for 5 years. I missed her
Oh,
wedding.
wow.
She missed my wedding. Yeah, because I'm a true believer. Wait a minute. I can't be pro-white if my sister is doing that. That's how I am, Dave. What happened? I realized, wait a minute. this is my DNA. That's her DNA. I would prefer to her to be, but that's her DNA to do what she wants. She's my family. I destroyed my family over an ideology because these internet people want me to be a certain way. I agreed with it, but they're living in a delusion. People have always mixed throughout history. People are going to do it or not. It should not be forced. It should not be banned. Right. So it just let people naturally do what they want. So I was that way. I snapped out of it by myself. Nobody told me what to do. I realized the contradiction. I have friends that are mixing, but I disown my sister. Why am I
By the
not
way,
mixing?
you're Italian, right? So back in the day when the Italians first immigrated to the US, weren't you also? I know in Australia you were considered what we call wogs,
Yeah, wops
which
or
is not.
whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we called it, which is a
Without
disparaging
papers.
term,
Yeah.
like not whites, basically. You're ethnics. So was that also in America? You
Well,
guys were
Italy,
kind of
yeah, well,
persecuted a bit.
Italians and Irish weren't treated well at first, and then they became integrated
And by
because
the
the
way, the Italians, Irish, and Jews used to congregate with each other.
yeah,
And on a maybe shouldn't be saying this, but it's history that's true. You had the mafia and the Jewish, some of the Jews, Mayor Lansky.
yeah, he was a
Like
big
there was,
mafia
and
too.
if
Yeah,
you watch The Sopranos, you had I know it's not real, but it's based on real stories. You had the Jews and the Italians, even in crime, right?
yep,
Also
yep.
not in crime, of course. So I think we have to get back not to the crime, but like just to like back in the 50s, 60s, where we were just all friends. Like
Yeah.
it's
So,
that
so,
simple.
so what I think is happening is there are Jews who have, ever since the Holocaust, have this PTSD you're mentioning, that have said never again. So the new religion for a lot of the secular Jews is never again. It's not Judaism. So they're like, okay, what can we do never again? Open society. George Soros. We need to dilute the people, and there are many Jews behind this, and they're the best at it. That's the thing; they're the best at it. And then you have the Vatican on top of that, and a
By the
lot of
way,
it's
let me just
yeah.
point something out. George Soros is one of the biggest anti-Zionists. He
Mhm.
hates Israel.
I
That's the
know.
thing. The anti-Zionists are the ones that hate Israel. The anti-Semites who hate Israel will use George Soros as some sort of. But do you know that us proud Jews that love Israel detest George Soros? He funds some of the worst, not just what you're saying, the open society or open, border groups in Europe. He also does the same in Israel.
Yeah, he wants open society. That's his
So a
ideology.
lot of Jews hate George Soros, and every time we see a non-Jew, criticizing George Soros, like I, for one, am not one that goes anti-Semite. I'm like, I agree with you.
Yep,
That
yep.
guy is evil, like Epstein.
So when you look at it, most Jews have been left wing everywhere they've gone. So you have a big Jewish population that's mostly left wing, which is pushing left wing ideologies, which is open borders
No,
and open society.
secular Jews are mostly left-wing, but like the
Yes,
religious Jews are mostly religious and conservatives.
that's
Ben
correct. So the
Shapiro,
ones I talk to, we have a lot of values. We get along
like
great,
me, I'm
very
I'm
well.
conservative.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So, but if I were talking to a left wing Jew, oh, you're a white colonizer and blah blah blah. So if Jews, it's funny because a lot of the rabbis say to me, the only way we could save ourselves is become more Jewish. And what they mean is follow the Torah, right? They literally have to go back. And I agree with them, even though I'm not religious, that, maybe it is better for you guys to not worship this thing and go back to this so that you could become
for
a
sure.
people and leave me alone and we leave you alone and we could trade and we could be nice and friends. Like
No,
that's
by
what
the
I
way,
would
the
like to
Torah
see.
isn't about leaving each other alone. Do you know, like, the Torah is actually about us being in the world and doing good. It's not about us. That's the thing. Like, I think history kind of gives a misleading look at what Jewish values are about.
Well,
It's
I
really
mean,
not.
just when,
The
if,
ideal about being a Jew is not living in a shtetl and not having
well, I
anything to do
know
with the
that. I
non-Jewish
know.
world. In fact, there's a law. You've spoken to more rabbis than I have, probably, Lucas, at this point. But so you probably know this, that if a Jew lives not in Israel, but like in any other country, it's against Judaism to break any law of that country.
Right. Yeah. They have
It's
to,
it's actually reviled. So
yes.
anytime you see a religious Jew that commits, I don't know, tax evasion, whatever crime that some of them are doing, which we see, of course, that's so anti. It's such a bad, not just a bad look. It's such a sin.
It's a Halul Hashem, right?
No, no, no. Oh, wow, well done. Yeah, you almost got that right. Chilul Hashem, yeah,
Halul
which
Hashem.
means it
Yeah.
looks bad, but I'm saying something more. It doesn't just look bad; it is actually intrinsically bad. It's like biting the hand that feeds you. We
Yeah.
need to be any country that looks after us and lets us live and gives us all the freedoms. We have to be so grateful. And I'm telling you, look at again, anything that I say now, I've got nothing to hide, just like you have nothing to hide. Google it. Like if I'm lying, anyone that Googles will like be able to tell me, call me out in like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Um,
by the way, your screen is,
yeah.
like, chopping up. I don't know if that's,
That might not be a good thing. I don't. My internet looks okay, but
you've been maybe it's on my end. Are you chopped up on your end?
a little bit. But okay,
Yeah.
hopefully people can hear us,
Well, they can
or
hear
will
you,
be
and
able to
they
hear
can see
us.
me and hear you, I think.
I guess we'll find out when when the recording drops.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, so really I wanted to just go into solutions, I think. I think for me, more conversations like this, even though I'm getting a trillion comments of hatred, I don't care. I don't, this doesn't matter anymore. The greater good back then was to fight the Jews, right? Now it's, you know what? I want to build bridges with everyone so no one gets killed. That's a greater good, I think. Despite disagreements here and there, despite what I look like to people, I honestly do not care at all what anyone says. I now see what I can do for good, and I want to do it. So that's one thing. And I think what needs to happen is the word anti Semite needs to be used correctly. I think, like you said, Greta Thunberg is not a Dan Bilzerian or what I was at all whatsoever, and that's dangerous. When you put Miss Rachel next to a freak, like who's literally that's not a good look for anybody. So I
I
tell the
agree.
Jews all the
Yeah,
time, you guys are terrible at PR, horrible PR, just horrible, right? So let's think about,
agreed.
okay, how can we truly eliminate anti-Semitism that shouldn't even be there on accident? You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
wait. We'll never eliminate
well,
anti-Semitism.
yeah,
We
because
can
you believe
fight
it's
it.
divine, yes. But I'm saying, um,
Yeah.
for me, the more that people learn the facts about Jews, like I made a status the other week or a couple of weeks ago. It said, the more I talk to Jews, the more I see that they're maligned, and people freaked out. Like, oh, what about this? Yeah, there's bad people all over the world. But the ones that I spoke to, that I know, Jake Langer, even yourself now, you're good people. You're good people. Now, you might have takes on politics that someone will say, oh, he's a Zionist and kill people. Like one guy said, Randy Fine. I'm like, dude, Randy Fine has said horrific thing. Bad PR, Randy Fine. Like not a good look. I've seen a lot of accounts say dumb things. And the thing is, I've always said this before. If I'm not allowed to critique a Jew when he does something wrong, that's a problem. You know what I mean? So a lot of times Jews are like, "No, you can't say that. You're a Gentile. That's wrong." Well, no, we should be all be able to critique each other, and even poke fun like a joke. I made a what was a comment about when I was in high school, 'cause I lived in a multiracial city this whole time of my life. Chinese guy, Jewish guy, black guy, Italian, me, and then my friend was Iranian. We had a joke for everybody, right? I was the greasy guinea. My friend was the greedy Jew. My friend who was black, no dad. My friend who was Iranian was a terrorist. My friend who was Chinese was a communist. And we made these jokes, and they were funny. We poke each other. But now it's hate speech today. You can't
Yeah.
make these jokes. So when you can't make jokes with each other, you can't poke fun and playfully, right? You're not a family anymore. And then when you start making this guy's off limits, you can't say this, you can't say that. People want to say it, people want to do it. And then when people's lives get destroyed for saying these things, you're creating
Yeah.
when these people have nothing to lose, that's when they get violent. So my concern is the word anti-Semite is being misplayed, is being misused. Keep it for people like I was, literally, people like me. People could say anti-Semitic things, perhaps. You could label, well, Jews are always lying. That's anti-Semitic, right? That's ridiculous to say that. Or all of them are in on it. That's obviously impossible. Okay, things like this. But there are things that are just not anti-Semitic, right? Maybe their opinions are offensive, but I think the number one thing, I think number one is that Jews are not a monolith. That has to be drilled in everyone's. I know you tried to drill it in my head, but they have to see it in a way.
Exactly. You only really. I told you. You didn't believe me.
You have to
When
see it.
later you started
Yeah,
talking, and you went, "Wait a minute, David doesn't believe that," or David told me that he doesn't like Rabbi Mizrahi. What he says, he prefers that, and
right.
you have to see for yourself because you're
Because
an intellectual. No one wants to be told what to believe. People need to experience it themselves.
yeah, because
That's
when you
human
become
nature.
an anti-Semite like me, it was like, now I wasn't super low IQ. I was like the king of them at one point, moving them around, but I
Yeah, well,
always
you're
had this
always
other,
smarter than they were.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I realized the fallacies in the conversations. I realized that even the propaganda was getting offhand here. Like, this is where you get into the stupid Charlie Kirk stuff and, all these other nonsense things. But we need to have these conversations where we can talk to Jews about their power that they do have disproportionately. But the problem is, and I said this to Jake and other people, I said, look, you never get good credit, right? So I said, I realized, I said, imagine we get from the BLM crowd, hey, you white people, all you've ever done is steal our technology, rape our women, steal land, and our resources. That's all you've ever done. Well, what the hell is it? But if you say, look, you've built planes, cars, technology, but you've done these, yeah, okay, you're right. So when I talk to Jews now, I say, look, you guys have power in Hollywood, blah, 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 but you have Einstein, you have Feynman. I said, you have your Weinsteins and you have your Feinsteins or your Einsteins, right? Like
Einstein's,
you
yeah.
have both. Okay. So it's like, they don't get the proper credit. It's always hatred. It's always you suck no matter what. You're all evil. If you give the Jewish people, look, here's your credit: technology, biology, biomedical technology, cyber technology, whatever the case. You give them the credit and you say, look, here we have a problem. It's more, you're more open to conversation, right? So
But yeah,
it was
no,
like
no,
a BLM
absolutely.
attack from the BLM on white people. And then another thing I realized: imagine you're a black person and people want to free the slaves. On one side, there's a white person who wants to free you. On the other side, they want to enslave you. Oh, look, whites are on both sides. The same thing as Jews are on both sides. So no matter what group you pick, you could always find people on both sides of that group. It just is what it is, right? So going back to Jewish organizational strategies and just in their way of life and how they work hard and whatever the case, they will excel no matter where they are, and it just happens to be the case because of their structure and family and how they network. This is happening again with Indians and other groups, Koreans, Chinese people. Okay. Whites are the worst at it because we're such individualistic people. Like we are like oh, I'm good with myself. And so when these other groups come in from around the world and their collectivist mindset as minorities, well, we're at a disadvantage. So now you see white people thinking about being pro-white, and there's nothing wrong with this. The problem is Jews go, uh-oh, pro-white, nationalist, that's a Hitler coming along. So what Jews need to see is that, look, none of us want to kill you ever again. I don't, okay? Are there freaks? Yes. But I think Jews need to be said, hey, listen, nobody wants to hurt you. Nobody wants to kill you or deport you. You can stay right here. But we need to also have our peace. And you guys have to understand us from your other brethren that are attacking us and seemingly acting like all Jews are like that.
Yeah,
But we have to have this conversation where it's left-wing, liberal, open society craziness, right? There's white people, there's black people, there's Jewish people, or all that. We got to
yeah,
stop those those values that are anti our values, number one,
yeah,
and then work with people with our values and ensure that we truly do not want to hurt each other. That's the
yeah,
biggest thing. Hurt feelings with words is one thing, but physically trying to kill each other, that's the worst thing possible.
yeah.
You
Lucas,
know?
just 1 second.
Yeah.
What I need to do now, my phone is about to die. I'm just going to plug it in. 1 second. I thought I had all my technology bases covered, but apparently, one, the live stream never worked, and two,
Mhm.
my phone is about to die. But let's try this. Oh, and I want to address your point. So I hear what you're saying, and I agree. But I would say that there isn't like an us versus them. I mean, you're talking about the white people and the Jew. Yeah, I guess there are certain elements that you can kind of generalize on, but like, I would try to stay away from Jews have to understand that the whites aren't all out to get them. Of course, amongst the Jewish community, there are people like me that there isn't an issue with the white. Some of
Right.
us are kind of white passing. I don't think of whites as whites. I just think of, do you know what I'm saying? I don't kind of
Well, I mean,
define.
Jake Turks was like, "Why don't you start a white community? Like, get your network go." He was not anti-white. None of them are. They're like, "You should
If you want to
emulate
talk
us."
about like white pride, I have
Yeah.
no problem with any group showing pride. I think it's a good thing. Jews are proud to be Jews, right?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think any people that we want to call them white or European culture, they should celebrate their culture. Some Jews, maybe their skin bristles a bit because of history, and it's sort of like a
That's
dog
the case.
whistle for like
Mhm.
white power. But that's just kind of like a legacy of history and hate groups. But if we just sort of all calm down and go, listen, there are people there. There are people within, European white society that want to just be proud, especially because of what's going on in Europe right now, being overrun by Muslim
Right.
immigrants, which is true. No one can deny that. And by the way, Australia's become a cesspool. And by the way, a lot of the immigration is tied up with anti-Semitism. So it's in my interest to point it out. A
Right.
lot of the hate groups come from these immigrants. Not all. There are plenty of good immigrants. A lot of these immigrants are sort of stoking, the bedfellows with the Red Green Alliance that we've been talking about. So for me, I think, and Ben Shapiro, by the way, who's an enemy of many anti-Semites, including Nick Fuentes, at least at one point, but they probably have a lot more in common than they would think, because he's very much into. He thinks that being a religious Christian is the best thing that a Christian can do, or to go to church is the best thing. He's not anti-Christian, even though this is what I'm trying to say. Like, for many of us Jews, I think we're very pro we're pro any other group, whether it's white or Indian or Asian or Muslim even, being proud of who they are, because I think it strengthens society if you have the strong base. If you have a strong family, you have a strong base, a strong community, as long as you're not harming people who are different to you, how can that be a bad thing?
Right.
I think it's a very, very good thing, personally. And
Right.
maybe, yeah, I know there are Jews that might be threatened, but it's the PTSD, they're not really thinking it
Well,
through, or
we
maybe
got
it's
it.
an
Like I said, those are
ideology.
the types we have to reach and say, look, nobody wants to hurt you. And these are the conversations like, look, I was one of the worst anti Semites around and
Yeah,
I snuck myself out of it by
yeah.
myself. No one told me to do this.
It's the Jews with the PTSD, but it's also the far left ones whose religion is not Judaism. It's
It's exactly the issue.
anti-colonialism and bringing down. They want open borders and they want to just basically no states. And again, they're Jewish in name only.
They're ethnically Jewish and that's it. And it
And
actually
I
hurts
said that
them.
to you in our first Zoom all those years ago. I said, listen, the Jews that are doing the bad shit that you want to call out, I said to you, I remember this very clearly.
Yes, you
They're
did.
doing that in spite of Jewish values. They're
Yeah.
against Jewish values. They're not doing it because they're Jewish. They're doing it in spite of being Jewish.
Right. Yeah, no.
And I still hold by that. Like, Judaism is about capitalism. It's about rewarding effort. It's about hard work. It's about community, but it's about spreading the love to the whole world. It's what I told you. Chosen people is not about being insular. It's about spreading ethical monotheism to the world. And you know what? We've kind of, even though we're fucked up big time, like for sure, the Bible is one big book of how us Jews have like rebelled against God and fucked up, truly. But like but there's always hope. Do you know what I mean? You can
Yeah.
always, just like there's hope for you. Repentance, we can repent, like you've repented. But like it's about spreading light to the entire world. And again, I mention this again, not to like propagandize to you or try to get you to be Jewish or anything like that. Because I know people who hopefully will be watching the recording and don't know much about Jews or Judaism. I'm here not just to learn more about your views and mend bridges with you and spread, the good word with you, but like I know a lot of people watching this don't get Judaism,
No, they
just like
don't.
they don't get
No.
your views. So like, I think it's important that they understand that not only are they being fed lies, it's like the exact opposite of what you think. We're not anti-white. We're not anti-goyim. I bristle at the word goyim, which means nations, and I get you guys use it ironically, but like I hate the word because again, I grew up. All my close friends are not Jewish, and I am not
Yeah.
saying that like
No, I remember you
some of
told me
my
that
best
last
friends
time.
are
Yeah.
Jewish. Like
Yeah.
truthfully, still to this very day, like a lot of my closest friends are not Jewish. We're still in touch on Facebook all the time, and it's not even like a flex. It's just like I don't even think. Do you know what I mean? I don't even like
No, I
think
know.
twice. It's not like it's just like you're my friend because we believe in the same. We have so much in common. It's not like you're not Jewish and I'm Jewish. Like it's not even. I don't think in those terms. Which Lucas Gage a year ago would think I'm bullshitting because you'd be like, you're a typical Jew and you hate all the goyim and you're anti. You're trying to get rid of the whites. It's just like it's such bullshit. I can't even. It
I mean, look,
bothers
the
me.
whites are getting rid of themselves. I mean, they're literally opening their like that's another thing. Like another thing about anti-Semitism is that there's no we say, well, not we see, I still say the old I used to say that all of you guys have no self-reflection. Like you can't even see like it's like a vampire in the mirror, you don't see it.
No,
But
you
then
did say that. Yeah.
I did that. Now, but look, the whites, like the Spanish guy, the what's his name? Why is he opening the border? Like They don't have self-reflect. No one does. It's hypocrisy. I wrote an article on Substack. I walked away from hypocrisy too. Like once I saw
Yeah.
the hypocrite in the mirror, that's what I called the article. I was the biggest one. One, because I lowered my standards to work with people that I knew weren't really like me, or they were like, degenerates, but I didn't say anything. And I dealt with it as long as I could for the greater good. So let me lower my standards for the greater good. It's not going to work in the end. It always bites you. Okay.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, in my personal life, I can't name a single Jew that did me wrong. One lawyer, yeah, that's one out of two. Okay, she was kind of weird, but
And
the other one who's Jewish was,
the person that doxed you, maybe.
yeah. But I'm saying my doctors, my friends from high school, and I lost a lot of my friends when they saw these articles. I'm like, well, what can I say?
Oh, wait a second. You had friends in high school that were Jewish?
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
I lived in Warren, New Jersey. It's
Yeah, but
all
some
Jew.
people that live in New Jersey never met a Jew.
No, not like
Like
not
Costco.
with the
I don't.
peyotes and the yarmulke type of thing. Like
No, but
secular.
this is interesting. So you actually hung out when you were like the party guy, the nightclub promoter guy. You had Jews
Absolutely.
also.
Jews everywhere. Always had
And
Jewish
what did
friends.
you think back then? Didn't you like go? These guys are cool. They're kind of like me. They're
No,
like
I didn't even know
Italian.
what a Jew was, David. I didn't know
Ah,
what a Jew. I didn't know what it meant. What is a
yeah.
Jew? I didn't even know what race was. If your last name ended with a vowel, you could be Italian to me. You see what I mean? I didn't know anything, so
And
I
that's
didn't
kind of
care.
like a better way to be, right? Because you kind of like blind. It's just like a construct, but just like you relate to the person who they are. Doesn't matter what the hell they believe in, as long as you kind of connect and you're not like harming each other and you like each other. It can be that simple, right? Having a good conversation, having fun with someone.
Yeah, I had, like I said, I've always lived in New Jersey, and I had all sorts of friends. You know, But like I said, there is an issue with this whole great replacement. That is a thing. It's no good. And the thing is, it's being forced upon people as well. And it's also because a lot of these people are cucks, these white politicians in Europe. They're virtue signaling, they're
Yeah.
traitors, and I know Israel has this problem too. There's a lot of Israelis who want to open the borders and all this other stuff over there. So it's a big problem. This
Well, what do you
open
mean? Israel's always opened the border. What do you mean? Every Jew that from every country.
no, I'm saying, aren't there liberal Jews who want to open up even more?
There's
Like
never been a debate in Israel to stop more Jews from coming to Israel, and
No,
we
like
are an ethno.
other non-Jews. Isn't there like a big issue there or
No,
no?
I
Or
mean,
no?
okay, we've had like we have a lot of Sudanese refugees, and we've
Yeah.
taken them in, and we have we even have Vietnamese, Israeli. Like I see them all the time,
Mm,
and they'll marry in, and you'll see like these Jews that look Vietnamese because back in you know, there were refugees from Vietnam back in the day. Like
mm.
a lot of these people have come to Israel, and we've always taken people in. Obviously, there have been curbs on immigration, but that's the other thing, and it's a bit of a segue. But like, so Israel gets this bad rap. Yeah, we're an ethno state, but like China, Japan, like why are all these other countries in the world, Japan, all of a sudden it's like a problem when it's one Jewish state amongst the sea of all the Arab states, the Muslim states, they're ethno states. The difference is that the non-Jews in Israel have all the freedoms.
Well, an
No,
ethno
this
state,
is
I think, would be like there's no one but you. So you're not really an ethno. You're
no, but
more like a
no, okay,
Jewish
no, but
majority.
they're
Yeah,
saying that we're
yeah.
like
You're a
Jewish
majority.
supremacy,
Yeah.
and we're not. Obviously, there are certain laws and stuff which have to do with Judaism, right? Like, certain public transport. I get it's an inconvenience, but like everyone, can vote and everyone has all the rights. And the Temple, I think we spoke about this in '67. We reclaimed the Temple Mount. Before '67, who was in charge of the Temple Mount? You know?
The Arabs.
Yeah, which country? Which? It was
Um,
the Jordanians, right? From
was it? Yeah.
'49. So this isn't spoken about. Now, do you know that Jews before '67 we re-liberated Jerusalem? There were parts, including the old city, that no Jew was allowed to set foot in. That all the synagogues were, again, Google it. I'm not talking shit. This is so like basic. And the minute we get in '67, you'd think if we were supremacists and we were genociders and apartheid practitioners, we wouldn't let one Arab on the Temple Mount. Who
Well, we know
controls
what's
the
crazy.
Temple
What I
Mount?
don't understand, looking into the history of Israel, why did you guys give any land back when you conquered everything? And
Thank you. You're a real Zionist now.
I don't understand. Like you guys
Because
had
we
every.
wanted peace. We
Yeah.
want.
Well,
We are so wanting a peace. I keep, Lucas, I keep saying that we're like a battered wife. I use this analogy all the time. We've been battered and bruised, right? And the minute that the husband that's been abusing us shows us any attention, we just like fall back into, yeah, we'll take you back. And I kind of look at it, maybe I'm exaggerating a bit, but I always think of it like with anti-Semites, but also with the Arab world and the Muslims, like they've never given us any peace in this land, including before 1948,
Mhm.
1929 Hebron massacre. We
Yeah,
didn't
that's
have a
what I brought
state.
up earlier. I learned about that the other day.
This is history, but it's like basic history. And I mean, first of all, props to you to actually learning stuff. But like we give back the Temple Mount, the Waqf, this Islamic religious authority, and Jews can only visit the Temple Mount under restrictions at certain times, but we're in charge.
Yeah.
Again, you just have to visit Israel, and I keep stressing this to not just you, but just the people that are watching. If you just visit Israel and understand what's going on, it's like the biggest rebuttal to any bullshit. You can listen to me on the internet, right, and Google, but like if you come to Israel and just like do a tour, even with an Arab tour guide, for goodness sake, um, it's just like to us, and like we're us Israelis, and I consider myself Israeli. I've lived here half my life, even though I'm obviously Australian Jew as well. It's just like it's almost ridiculous. Like it's almost like some of these arguments are beneath us. It's like we laugh and we cry. It's just like it's such. Do you know what I'm saying? It's so ridiculous to us. And there are a lot of Jews in the diaspora that also don't kind of get it. They
Well,
haven't
what's the
been Israel.
propaganda coming out? So that's what I'm saying. I've seen propaganda on both sides, and now that I'm seeing the propaganda against Israel, and look, I'm not Mr. Pro is. I'm literally like, okay, guys,
No, you're
figure
a Zion. We will establish you're a Zionist because you
apparently
believe in
so.
a two-state solution. That makes you a Zionist.
Okay, so oh well, like
It's the
that's
most.
what I told
No,
my
no.
buddy. I was like, all
I'm not
right,
saying this to put more of a target on your head. Zionism is the most. All these people saying Zionist, Zionist, Zionist. Do you know how many people actually know the definition? They don't know.
no, they don't know. They think expanding Israel, greater Israel.
They
That's what
think
they
it's the Illuminati or the
think.
Rothschilds or I don't know what the fuck they're
Well, there's
thinking it
more
is.
Christian Zionists in America than Jews on Earth.
True.
So, I mean, that's another thing.
That's
Like
true.
going back to accountability, a lot of the Gentiles are not having any accountability. So, this is another issue and that's why they're all attacking me. They're like, "How dare you even like? What have I done? Literally, I've done nothing but talk to people. That's it.
You
I
mean you
didn't go
put
to
your heart on your sleeve, and you're talking people through your thought process,
right.
and no one can accuse you of grifting because one, you haven't made money. Even when you're an anti-Semite, you said boom boom Tel Aviv, you were already talking. Everything was taken down,
I
so
mean,
you
that's
couldn't even make money from it. And you went against. Okay, it's another good segue. This Stu Peters guy who has a huge following, who's
mhm,
the biggest grifter. He stole your money. For those that don't know, he had this J coin, Jew coin, to
Jew
kind of
proof.
stick it up to the capitalist Jews. It was a Bitcoin, which I called shitcoin,
Well,
and I think you
it's
started.
it was Solana coins called J proof, so Jews couldn't get it or something. And I didn't know anything about crypto at the time. And he was my friend, I thought. I didn't know anything
You
about his
thought,
history because no one has accountability. This is what drove me to go in accountability mode. So
yeah.
this guy brings up this coin. I'm like, okay, well, listen, I'm not going to promote it, but I'll jump in and I'll say I jumped in. And that's like a soft promote, but I didn't say like, listen, put your money in there. And he's like, we're going to do this. I said, what's the plan? I'm going to stabilize this coin, this meme coin, which no one's ever done. I'm going to hold all the money, 85%. I'm not going to sell a single cent of it and we'll build it up and then we'll let the Chinese come in and we'll make money off the Chinese. So our guys will get rich. I'm like, okay, sounds like a plan. Well, during this whole thing, I noticed these things went up and down, and eventually one of his partners made a very bad mistake, lost 60,000 in a shot, dropped the coin. I said, what's going on? I said, nothing. I was like, no, there's something off here. And my suspicions caused some admins to defect. Then there was a guy named Birkenorder. He's a Jew calling out Stu. I think even Gabe Hoffman was calling out Stu. So, but at the time, well, these Jews are just making it up. I'm like, well, I don't think they are. Then this other guy defected, AK, and then I started looking into it. So I got this team together. Like, is he doing this? And like, yeah, it's all of them. And we got all the wallets. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm down 9 grand, but I can't sit here and wait for it back. And I'm not going to tell that we got to say it. And that's when I pulled out. So I pulled out at a $9,000 loss. I could have waited, but when is it going to go up again? And by
Right.
the way,
What is it now? Did it keep going down or
it's like
what's
below, it's like 0.00. I don't even know if it even exists anymore. So
Oh shit.
completely called them out. And that's when I noticed nobody cared. No one's like, oh, he's right. And nobody stopped him. Some people stepped away from him. But now that the Charlie Kirk thing's big, they're going back to him. People that know robbed him. I'm like, wow. So it all started with Stu, then Jake lying and all these other people. And I'm like,
Yeah.
look at this. Like once you lie about me, now I know you're a liar. Because I know what you're saying
And
about me
then,
is false.
and by the way, so first of all, I was going to say that like this thing, maybe, yeah, you lost $9,000, but you regained your
Well,
integrity, you
if it didn't
regained your
happen, imagine what
perspective.
right. Imagine I
It
made
might have
money.
led you down this path to
Yes.
question everything that you thought was
That's
true.
exactly right. So it's a silver lining. Like if that never happened, if I didn't follow up this guy, if I didn't call him out, if I didn't call out other people, little bit, I would have not seen what this thing has become. And look, I had a buddy named Everin. His name is Culture Thug. He's been in the movement for 20 years. He left a year ago. He's like, these people are fake. They're all grifters. Like, what are you talking about? Come back. Let's go. It's time to make the changes we always wanted. Been waiting for this, right? He saw this. He's like, they're all fake. You'll see. And he's right. So when he walked away a year ago, I'm like, my God, he's right about everyone. He named
Yeah.
every person that would betray me, and every single one did. And no one cared. Because if you call out this guy, now you lose access to the platform. And now there's drama. And people are telling me, Lucas, stop infighting with Stu. He's robbing all. What do you mean infighting? By the way, criminal, domestic violence,
Oh my
impersonate,
God, yes.
literally not. And no one told me until after. And that's
You
what
should have asked me, by the way. I was writing about him before you got ripped off. He was the guy that he went to Jesse
yeah, he's an
Ventura,
imposter.
governor.
Yeah.
He
So
was
this
an
guy's
imposter.
complete real
He was
criminal.
Focus the rapper, the worst rap you've ever seen. Trust
So
me.
so
Don't
the
look.
point is, no one ever told me. I would have never helped him. I would have never. But people don't want to cause infighting because we got to fight the Jews.
But it's interesting. It's instructive the fact that you didn't fight, like meaning you're a guy that always investigates.
Yeah.
So I think it shows more, not that people didn't tell you, but that you were so intoxicated by this Jew hatred, you stopped asking questions, even though as a Jew hater, you're always asking
Well, even
questions of
Jews
the
are
Jews.
telling me he's robbing him. Like, no, you're lying. But then I started.
You
Wait a
lost
minute.
your not just your perspective, but you lost your superpower, which is your intellectual honesty.
Right.
That's your superpower, Lucas.
Yeah.
You
And I
always
no. And
investigate things, and you stopped investigating. You just trusted a guy because he was saying all the bullshit that you wanted.
and
You
that's the thing.
bought
So
into.
what happens is this: if a guy comes in out of nowhere, starts bashing the Jews, oh, he must be honest because he's risking everything. But is he really now? Because now it's
He didn't
monetized.
risk anything. He made money off people.
Now that's what's that. So when I was an anti-Semite back in the day, when Everin was back 20 years ago, there was no money. There was no send me a super chat. There was zero. Okay. Now it's
Yeah.
send me a super chat and go on Rumble and donations and merchandise and uh, all these tours and what? How is this possible? Now it's not like there are some people making millions, but most people are making something. But it's like this didn't exist 5 years ago, but
Yeah.
after October 7th, especially if you're pro-Palestine, you got all these Arabs sending you money. I'd beat people from one guy in Saudi Arabia send me 500 a month just to send it, or
Oh
whatever.
wow.
Yeah, it would just
Wow.
send me a donation, auto pay. Like, okay, like these people just for speaking
Wait,
for
so I
them.
guess he stopped sending it to you now?
Oh
That
yeah, it's
you're
gone. But that's the thing. Like I did not care about losing money. Once I realized I'm not being fair. Okay. Like I'm not being, I picked one side. I'm all in. I went too far. I'm not even listening to these people. And then some of these people are telling me things that are true about these people. And I'm like, whoa. And then now I see this Green Alliance. I made a video the other day. I don't know if you saw it. This great Green Alliance, like whispering in my ear for 10 years. People that are my friends that are like, well, who cares? I'm like, what do you mean who cares? And I'm like, wow, I've been getting played all over the place, right? In a sense. And it's not because I'm some guy who doesn't understand. It's that I trust people. And you jump into a world like I hate politics because it's fake. I jump into it. I'm assuming team player. No one's a team player. I'm assuming people are no one's honest. So I don't. That's why I'd rather do philosophy, and I've been working on that and doing papers and things and peer review. But like that's where I belong. And I like to talk about. I could talk about meta politics, about politics themselves, but I'd rather help people build bridges and have conversations like this. They're like practical politics. I don't want to talk about what Trump said. Who cares? These people are nobody. But the thing is, like for me, I rather build bridges with human beings and prevent people from hurting each other and improving their lives. That I can change. I can't change the interest rates from the Fed. I can't stop the war in the Middle East, but I can stop people from hating each other, hopefully hurting themselves and hurting other people. So that's what I'm doing now. I don't know what's going to happen after this, Dave, if it's going to maybe put me back in the spotlight or not, or I just go and be a father and live a normal life. I'm fine with either one, but I wanted to make sure that when I walk away from all this, I make peace with everyone I was war with. Started with Lakewood, and now you. See, you're a big one I had to make peace with, and that's where I'm at now. So who knows what will happen? But I'm glad we had this conversation. We've been going for 2 hours and 14 minutes. I think we did a
Yeah,
good
longer
one.
than I anticipated. And by the way, there's more stuff I could have gotten into, but we probably should wrap it up soon, and maybe we'll have more discussions depending how. First of all, I hope this is recorded and I can
Yeah,
post it
imagine
and
it's
people
not.
can benefit. You know what? If it's not, I'm just telling you now, no one will hear this, but
Yeah,
I've had an amazing conversation. Like I've enjoyed,
yeah,
I feel enriched by this conversation. I've learned from you. And you know what? That's the biggest compliment I can give you.
yeah. Well, I appreciate that, Dave,
Learn from
and I
someone
I, I do
else.
appreciate even after all the things we've said to each other and what I've done and you've done or whatever. It's that what I've noticed about the Jewish people, and I will say this: they're very forgiving. You mean like almost like you said earlier, almost to like, are you crazy? You're going to take it back so quickly, So it's like, but that's the thing. There is so much hatred and propaganda, literally in many cases, where it's like, well, okay, but for me, I know some don't believe what I'm doing. That's fine. I'm not worried about. I know what's in my heart. I know what I'm doing.
Yes. Only
And
God and you know. Yeah.
right. So for me, I'm going to keep going forward no matter what anyone says as time goes on. Whatever my mission is now, whatever happens, I don't know. I'm just opening it up. So all I
Yeah.
know, all I wanted to do, I already won, Dave. That's what I told everyone else. I told Jake and everyone. I said, look, I don't know, because he's like, Hashem has a plan for you. I'm like, listen, I don't know. But all I know is that making peace already won. Big W, Jerusalem Post, Israel, Times of Israel posted about it. I made peace with Lakewood. Even Wikipedia was updated. Even Canary Mission, whether you
Oh,
agree,
wow.
they said, you want to write a statement. I said, yeah. Now, look, a lot of people don't like Canary Mission because what they've done, they do some things that are nasty. I know because I was on there. All they asked me was to write a statement about my trans. I didn't say, good job, I'm a runner, you're writer. None of that. But just being on there, just clearing my name, everyone started getting mad at me. So you don't care about me. This website's so evil to you, right? You want me to stay on for you? Like what? I don't understand. So like I
Yeah. Why
started,
are they taking you off? If they're out to destroy your life, why are you
but
like,
but the
why would
but
they
the
give you the
point is
benefit of the
nobody
doubt?
cares about me ever. Like none of the people I was aligned with, no one cares about anyone but this and clout. Once you realize that, this whole thing is a grift. Maybe there's two people that are legit. That's why I
And,
walked
and as, I,
away. You know what I
as I
mean?
told you before this call, I always, even though as I was like going up against you and writing about you, because we had that, and a lot of it had to do with the fact I felt betrayed
Yeah,
personally. So it was more than just the regular garden variety anonymous anti-Semite online that I didn't know about. We spoke, and we again after that conversation, I didn't publicize it because I still felt something was a bit off because you were still sending me all this stuff and whatever. I just my spider senses were tingling. I didn't know, and then you did the Hitler stuff, and I felt really hurt and betrayed. But when you went through all that doxing stuff, and like I felt for you, like I know you have a wife, where you have one young child or
two.
two, yeah. So like I as a father
Yeah,
and as a husband, you weren't like an avatar online. Do you know what I mean? I revealed the veil from you. We spoke for like 1.5 hours,
yeah,
almost as long as now, privately, and so it's not even a. And by the way, also, so for me, just as a human to another human, it's just like, how can I wish bad on you? I wished for you to see the light. That was kind of where I was at. I was going to fight the lies and hope that you would turn around, which you have. And I'm not going to take credit for you turning around. I think Stu Peters can take more credit than
he can
me.
take
And
the
your,
most credit almost. He was
yeah,
a blessing in disguise in a sense. No, I mean, look,
exactly.
everyone that I associated with has had an effect on me. From you, even from Joseph Cohen, everybody that I had, all of my enemies in a sense at the time, because when you guys were saying clicked later on, okay, like especially what you said about values and we're not a monolith. It was you, Leo, and
Oh yeah, the Jew function
Jew
guys.
function. Yeah, I just actually emailed them. I said round two. He's like, yeah, let me know. We'll have a phone call. So they want to catch up with me before we do it. And I'm like, I got to go back to everybody because I got to go back and make peace with these guys because they were good people too. They didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, they're good guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I got mad because they didn't defend me one time and I was like freaking out. But how can I expect them to fight for me when I'm doing stuff they don't? You know what I mean? It was like with you, like why would you not get upset with that meme, right? So, you know, all this, I'm making everything right. I told my wife, I said, Kate, I'm going to make everything right. I don't
And
care
you,
who
and you
cries,
really, and you
yells.
really
I don't.
are. I want people watching, from the Jewish community because I've obviously got a lot of followers, and they're like, someone messaged me. They even sent me an email saying, "I'm glad you're doing this." On one hand, and one other person on Twitter said something like, when she saw that, unfortunately, she can't watch the live right now, but when she saw I advertised it, she's like, "Wow, now you're doing this.
Yep.
Now I believe that he's probably sincere."
Yep.
No, I'm not doing this to give you the kosher seal of approval. You're a grown boy, a grown man. This was really what I said at the outset. It's to have a connection, a dialogue. And by the way, I didn't know what you were going to say. I knew some
And
of the stuff
nobody
you were
got
going to
hurt.
say.
Look, nobody got hurt.
You might have said something. You might have said during this call. I don't know. You might have said, boom, boom, Tel Aviv. I still believe Tel Aviv should go. Like I
Yeah,
didn't
I
know
could
what
have
you were
I
going to
could have
say.
been trolling you the whole time.
Yeah.
4D chess.
No, and it would have still been a discussion. But like what I'm trying to say is that I agree with you. These discussions are really important, not just for us, you, Lucas Gage, me, David Lang, for our you know possible friendship moving forward. I still want to get you to Israel. I'm not paying you a cent, but
Just
just I think might be good
no,
in
that's
terms of
for
your
people.
learning.
I
By
you
the
know
way,
what I
you can
said?
come to Israel. If you come to Israel, you obviously pay for it and you bring your wife and kids. You might see stuff you don't like. And if you post that, I'm not going to, if it's not a lie, if that's your experience, good for you.
I
If
told
you say
one
the
guy.
falafel there is terrible, I'm not going to cancel you. Okay.
I told one guy.
Um,
I said, I'll go to Israel. I said, I hate traveling. I said, if you pay for my whole family to go to Italy, go see my grandmother, I'll go by myself afterwards. But I said, you know what happened? Clavicular, you guys ruined it. The guy goes over to Israel and you guys ruined it. So
that's actually, before we go, that's actually good that you bring that up
yeah,
because I think the whole
clavicular.
clavicular thing was very instructive of Jews not being a monolith. If
Exactly. Yeah.
anyone was paying attention to the arguments online about clavicular,
Hmm.
like we were going at it. By the way, I had a view. My view on clavicular was I don't think the guy's a good guy.
No,
I
of
don't
course.
like. I don't like what he does.
No, yeah.
Maybe he's a nice guy, but the fact to promote looks and self mutilate, I'm not for that. And he goes around and he takes liberties with girls.
Yeah.
And I didn't like him coming to Israel and starting to stick his tongue down the throats. It could be in Italy. I wouldn't like it. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well, of course.
But
We're fathers, we don't
yeah,
like this.
as a father, exactly. And my, the IDF girl he was hanging out with is like the age of some of my daughters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she was an idiot, and I said she should be fired.
Yep.
I wrote this on, I think, on Twitter, but on Instagram mainly. But I'm new, like you. I'm a bit nuanced. So I said, while he's here, okay, that's one aspect. Should someone have paid for him to come? No, I don't know if he was paid or he came. But while he's here, don't kick him out.
Yeah.
Let him stream Tel Aviv and having a good time. Again, I don't want him to be, sexually assaulting women in Tel Aviv. But like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying, but like, it is good PR in the sense that he's got a big audience. So there were some people saying, get him out, kick him out. And by the way, I also said, don't call him an anti-Semite. It's like what I said about Greta Thunberg. Yes, he danced. He was an idiot. He's a young guy.
He's 20
He
years
danced
old. Yeah,
along.
he's like 21 or something. He just, he's
Dude,
not
I
a kid.
told you early on in this call that my friend in Israel it was singing along to Boom Boom Tel Aviv.
Yeah, yeah,
He's not a neo-Nazi, okay?
yeah, yeah,
He doesn't hate Jews. He lives here. He's a Jew.
yeah.
So what I'm saying is people need to. These discussions attract the extremes, but there's the nuanced voices of people like you and me. Oh, you now at least. You weren't back then.
Yeah, nah, you wouldn't be able to talk to me 2 years ago. That's
But
for
now I can say that, like, it's not always black and white. Like, two things can be right at once.
Yeah.
Clavicular could do some bad things, but like, is calling him an anti-Semite and calling him to be expelled from Israel and, kicking him out of nightclubs the right move? No, I don't think so. So again, I'm mentioning this just to reinforce. It's almost like we go full circle here with the discussion. Jews are not a monolith. Even with the clavicular thing, if anyone was paying attention to that, you would have seen Jewish people online. We couldn't agree on anything.
I know. That's all.
So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, we've been going for almost 2.5 hours. I could talk to you honestly for longer. Maybe we'll schedule another call if you want. As long as this works and it
Maybe next time
records.
we'll go live at the right time, or maybe you'll figure it out. But
Maybe we need you're the expert on going live. This was my first
mhm.
rodeo.
Well, I got nothing. I
Um,
mean, hopefully, my YouTube gets reinstated. I somehow I got a appeal, allowed an appeal. I don't know,
I
but
think it should be. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, if you're
Well,
gonna put
it
just
got nuked over the song, and then it got nuked for having
yeah,
another thing after getting nuked. I never violated
yeah,
anything other than that thing, but
yeah.
I sent them everything. I said, "Look, here I've been all over the place. That helps a bit. We'll see. I would like to reintegrate into society. Dave, I've been at war for 23 years. Okay, literally in Iraq.
A lot of the war was also not just war externally. You
Yeah,
had an inner war. You were fighting demons,
yeah. Well,
which you
literally,
needed to slay, to
yeah,
use your words.
literally the war in Iraq, and then coming back home, 7 years of fighting the Illuminati, and then 14 years against the Jews. And it's like I have not stopped ever until recently. And let me say this: my life has improved already. I already won. Whether I disappear tomorrow, never get seen again, or I blow up and I help everyone or something, I won because I made peace. I've never been at peace in 23 years. Now I'm at peace. My wife noticed
You
it.
feel happier, right? You at
I
home you're
feel,
happier.
yeah.
You get up in the morning and you kind of feel more like I'm trying to understand. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
put
no,
words
I
into your mouth.
literally, like, before it's like I'd be at dinner thinking about the Jews, Jews, Jews. Like that's how. Oh my God, the world's dying. Now I don't worry about it. Like, yeah, the world still is what it is, but now I'm like, okay, I've already done everything in that area. I'm over it now. It's time to move on in my life. I deserve peace.
You do.
Call me selfish, but I deserve it. You know what I mean? And why
Well,
not
you're
make
not
peace?
selfish because you have a young family you want to look after.
Yeah, and again, it's not cucking or selling. I'm still waiting for the quote where I sold out to anybody. There's no selling out. I've been doing the same thing the whole time. Now it's time for me to move on with my life and make peace with
But
everyone.
you know what? I mean, don't let when I don't think it bothers you.
No,
You kind
it's
of use it as sort of, but like, don't let it ever bother you because these people are just not even in your pay grade in terms of as a person. And by the way, I always joke. I say, you know what? I've said this to anti-Semites in the past. I don't look down on you because I'm a Jew and I think I'm superior.
right.
I look down on you because you're a fucking dumbass.
Mhm.
It's got nothing to do with Jew and not Jew. And I'm saying this, you're not Jewish, obviously. And I look.
I'm right here. Yeah. Oh, now we cut out. It's okay.
Now we've swapped. Now you're on the left wing and I'm on the right wing, according to my screen.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so given that this is a bit temperamental, and I want to check that this recording has worked. So no, so what I was saying is, I see eye to we see eye to eye in terms of I look at you as my colleague, my friend. Um, yeah, and don't let these people ever. I don't think they would bother you. I think you're beyond that. But like, they're not even in the same ballpark as you. They're
Well,
not.
it used to bother me,
Anyone
not
that dates is
anymore.
not.
Well, once I
Yeah.
realized how these people are, I used to worry about, oh, they're lying about me. Let me debunk the lie, or oh, let me explain myself why I'm doing this thing, or none of that matters. It's like to Charlie Kirk. It doesn't matter what evidence you show. They're not there to agree. They already made a decision about you. You're this, you're that. Someone will say, you're irrelevant now. Like, well, I want to be. I do. I don't want to be part of your circles. But they'll spend all the time hate watching me and leaving comments. So I'm
So
clearly
you know
relevant to
what?
you.
Yeah, I want to leave this thought with you, Lucas.
Yeah.
You're more relevant than ever
Yeah.
because you have the ability to do more good now. And again, it might just be that this is your swan song. Maybe this talk now is the last time we see you. Maybe you'll be invited on to more. Maybe you'll come to, who knows? But you can rest knowing that you've done tshuva, which is the Jewish word for repentance. I'm sure your rabbis have told you that. And that's what I wanted to say, that we believe one of the reasons we're so forgiving is a value of ours. Like, because we've sinned a lot during history, right? If we can't afford other people that, right to repent, then we're worth nothing as Jews because we've sinned throughout history against God.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's such a value. And again, I just want to thank you again for this discussion. I've learned so much. Again, not everything you've said today I knew. You've
Right.
genuinely, I've learned a lot. It wasn't all planned and
Well,
pre-scripted.
I mean, I got the
Definitely,
massage. Wait, hold on. The massage script right here. Hold on. I got it right here.
and definitely all the fucking live platforms shitting themselves wasn't planned.
Well, yeah.
That
Why
for
would the
sure.
Mossad shut down the platforms? They didn't want this to happen.
Maybe I'm now. Maybe the Mossad are after me now,
Yeah,
talking to you.
you betrayed your people with this
Yeah.
guy. But yeah, no,
So hopefully
listen,
this.
I
Yeah.
appreciate this, and again, for me, making the peace is it outweighs everything. So I'm happy that we discussed after all these years of fighting, it's over, and that to
Yeah.
me is amazing, and I love that. So
Well, the fighting's over, but maybe there's a new chapter, and we can collaborate to bring more understanding, not just between us, like we've done, but to our communities, because I think that could be a healing thing for the entire world. I think.
well, whatever happens, it happens. So I'm willing to
Yeah,
help with people. I'm willing as long as I could prevent people from getting hurt and killed. That's a win for me too. So
that's a worthy cause. Yeah.
yeah,
All right, Lucas. So thank you so much,
thank you.
and yeah,
We'll talk soon,
as I
Dave.
said, I hope it's recorded.
Okay,
Nice chatting.
bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.